of the summit. And I'm going to yield the floor to our chief moderator, Mr. Terry Omonibo from UK, United Kingdom. So I think you are online. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, let me do that for you. Are you on now? Okay, so.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ayo. It's afternoon here, good afternoon. And I know it's morning in Canada, and maybe it's evening in some other parts of the world. So I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening for wherever you're joining this from. It's Career Summit 6.0. I think it's pretty been an exciting journey in the last 6 years. And so far, it's been unfolding, it's been evolving from one step, one level to another. So I want you to celebrate yourselves again. For those who have been part of, who's been part of the last 6 sections. So if you've been part of the last 6 sections, let's use the chat room. If you've been part of the last 6 sections, that's 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, up till now, if you've been there, put it in the chat room. Let me just see those who've been part of this summit in the last 6 sections. Go to the chat room. Let's see you. I'm going to read your names out. I'm there right away. All right. And thanks to Dr. Ayo, where those people are responding. Thanks to Dr. Ayo, who've been very consistent with this summit so far. There are several other summits that have started but never are consistent. So I want to celebrate to Dr. Ayo for being consistent. Some of us have been part of all 6 sections, and like I said, it's been very evolving. The speakers have been phenomenal. The level of knowledge, the level of knowledge have been really, Dr. Asta says not up to 6. All right, so level of knowledge and the impact have been really, really amazing. So we just want to celebrate everyone. This time to Dr. Ayo for putting this together all over again. So I just see just one person. So let me take this. If you've been here for the last 5 sections, just put it in the chat room, maybe your name, and just no need for your name. I'll see that in the chat room. Maybe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just let me see that in the chat room and celebrate you, at least for taking that time to be part of any of the sections so far. So put your name in the chat room. Just put the number 2, number 3. Okay, says I'll be part of 2 sections. Okay, Adebayo said 2 sections. All right, who else? Let's see. Oh, Kathy said 5 sections. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Who else? Mozua said 5 sections. Beautiful. Let's keep that coming. Keep that coming. Keep that coming. So 3 sections. Let's one more response. All right, all right. So I celebrate you, all those who are part of 1 section, 2 sections, up to all 6 sections. We celebrate you greatly. Wale Thomas says, my first time. Thank you. We celebrate you greatly, Wale Thomas, for being a part of this section. So we're going to go straight right up. We don't have so much time. I will really is power packed. Thank you for that. It says first time. People are first time to celebrate or take time to be. So we're going to go straight right up into the section for today. It's going to be loaded, power packed, and I want to encourage everyone to take a pen and paper, be ready to take notes. I believe all our speakers have been carefully selected to impact knowledge, and the knowledge is going to be very experiential, very practicable. So you want to take notes as much as possible that you can run with for the next 12 months. Because, and of course, in this VUCA world, right, things are changing very fast. Technology and a lot of things are evolving. So we want to be able to position our careers in the right way so that we can also evolve over time. So thank you, everyone, for taking that time to be here. All right. So I don't know, Dr. Ayo, if we can proceed to our first speaker. I don't know. I'm trying to check out the just a minute, please. Just a minute. If you can go straight right on into the first conversation for today. Just a minute. I want to check the program. Sure. Okay, yeah, good. All right. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Ayo, I don't know if we can proceed to the first speaker, keynote speaker.
Yeah, before we go, once again, let me welcome everyone, and specifically appreciate our speakers. The Career Summit over the year, we have had fantastic speakers, keynote speakers. It has been awesome and tremendous, and I can't but to thank them. I mean, if I'm to pay them, I don't know how much I can pay each person, because these are men of caliber and timber and everything you can describe them. They are all international speakers from the day one till now. I mean, you want to talk about Dr. Sam Adeyemi, you want to talk about our speaker lineup for today. We have Dean, we have Mr. Victor, we have loads of them, and they are from different parts of the world. If you have observed, every year we bring people from different parts of the world, so it's not Nigerian thing actually. And we have had people join us from Brazil, people join us from South Africa, people join us from every part of the world. So this is an international career summit in actual fact. Okay, so, and these are people that, I mean, I can't even be able to quantify what would have been the amount they want to charge if we have to pay them. But they've done this as pro bono. They've done this as support. All right. And I just want to say thank you very much. I want to appreciate everyone. Dr. Nia Desoya, Dane Botis, Mr. Are, Victor Adebayo, Engineer Adebola Bada, Dr. Esther, Lady Haba, and Omazua. And also, I want to appreciate all the moderators for the past years. Thank you so much for your support and for being also committed. All of you have seen it happening. They are part of the kitchen, the cooking, all of the run around and what have you. So I just want to thank you. And for the participants, okay? So you two, I mean, are part of the whole team, and then you are not only here to learn, you are also here to be part of the network. And something big is coming, and we are only going to share that with you. So I just want to appreciate everyone. I want to say, please pay attention. Pick what will be very useful to you. No knowledge is waste. I cannot tell you that. They're going to share from my experience, share from what is happening globally. This information are not just for Nigerian market and not for a particular location. They are for everywhere. And tomorrow, who says you'll not find yourself at certain location? So please grab your cup of coffee and get yourself settled down somewhere and be part of this. And finally, this is a kind of 3-in-1 program for me. Usually, this idea was battered as one of the way I felt I wanted to give back on my birthday. So it usually comes some days before my birthday. My birthday is tomorrow, May 19th, and actually it's my special birthday, the Golden Jubilee birthday for me. And so I'm getting younger, and I know you can see that. I'm younger than a lot of you here, you know that. So in the evening of today, after the summit, I'll be doing a book launch to also commemorate my birthday. And tomorrow is a Thanksgiving Sunday. We just thank God and celebrate. But don't worry, very soon we are going to gather together in one hall and we're going to celebrate and pop champagne. So thank you so much. All right, I'll let it go now to Terry, and then we can introduce the first speaker, our keynote speaker. I want to believe is somewhere in the room, Dr. Nia Adesoya, and then we can take it off from there. Terry, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ayo. You know, as Dr. Ayo was speaking, I remember when all this whole thing started, and I was like, oh, it started as a global phenomenon, and it's actually gone global, truly. All right. So I was just saying, Dr. Ayo, maybe for subsequent editions, we need to maybe we need to do some recordings of testimonials as part of the summit, just to be able to substantiate the impact that Career Summit has been in the lives of professionals and people around the world. So that just came up in my head. So probably work around that in the kitchen.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, so without wasting too much time, because we know we have a lot to do today, we'll take this very short time. All right, somebody's playing birthday in the chat room. Thank you. Birthday in the chat room. All right. Birthday cake for Dr. Ayo. All right, so much cake there. And also our first timers, I celebrate you. I saw a lot of first timers. Thank you so much for being a part of this. So we're going to go straight right on as we bring our keynote speaker. I guess he's in the room already. Dr. Nia Adesoya. phenomenal. Please confirm Dr. Ayub is in the room. Phenomenal speaker and coach. It's doing within the African consulting landscape, renowned for his transformative impact on organizational development and leadership strategies, with a profound commitment to growth and innovation. He's an unrivaled and renowned performance strategist and speaker with strong business acumen. His business and life coaching platforms has helped business owners across various sectors cut through the complexities of today's rapid changing business environment using his innovative MAZE procedure template that he has developed for his years of leadership management practice. Beyond the boardroom, his influence reverberates on a global scale through its captivating keynote addresses. His eloquence and insights captivate audiences, making him a very sought-after speaker who inspires and empowers listeners to catalyze change in their spheres. Dr. Niyi Adesonya's profound contributions are exemplified by his commitment to nurturing leadership excellence. His flagship program, Niyi Adesanya Leadership Bootcamp, Africa's premier leadership pilgrimage, draws luminaries and industry experts from across the world. Through his immersive experiences and practical tools, participants dive into the depths of leadership teachings, emerging as agents of transformation in society. He is the CEO of Fifth Gear Consulting, a consulting, recruiting, and publishing firm with clients, including at least one of the top 3 organizations in major sectors of the economy. His literary contributions further fortify Niyi Adesonya's legacy, an author of 6 compelling books on public speaking, leadership, and peak performance. He impacts wisdom that transcends pages, igniting transformation in leaders, in individuals and organizations alike. All right, he's for multifaceted roles as an advisor, author, speaker, and board member, optimizes his holistic approach to driving a centenary change in the corporate landscape. All right, let's put hands together in the chat room, physically, wherever you be from, as we celebrate and invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Niyi Adesanya.
Terry, you are muted.
Okay. So Dr. Niyi Adesanya has the stage. I don't know if he's in the room. Dr. Ayub, please confirm. It's my pleasure to invite him on stage for the first time for the Career Summit 6.0 keynote speaker. Okay, I guess I'm trying to look at Dr. Ayub. Please confirm if it's around or close by, but I can't find him in the chat room in the participant section. So while we're waiting to Okay, Dr. Ayub, I don't know if the dean is available. Maybe we'll take the first speaker first, then we'll come back for the dean. Yeah, is the dean in the room?
Morning, Terry. How are you this
Okay.
morning? Dr. Ayub, happy birthday. Man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dean.
Well done.
Okay,
Thank you.
is it the dean?
So I may have to jump out in about 5 minutes for 2 things because I was expecting to come on a little later. If you could give me those 30 seconds, that would be great. But ladies and gentlemen,
fine.
it's a pleasure.
That's
Good
fine.
morning,
That's
good
fine. So sorry
afternoon,
for the
good
info.
evening. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Great. Glad to
Yeah.
hear. We have a long weekend here
Awesome.
in Canada, right?
Lovely.
And with our tiny, tiny, short Canadian summers, it's always a joy and it's always a celebration here. So everybody in this part of the world has got a huge smile today, having a great time, right? Okay, so I guess
Sorry, Dean. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dean. You want to take 5 minutes? You can quickly do that.
I can take 5. Do you want me to take
Yeah,
5?
you can
I
do
take
that.
5?
Yes, you can.
No, I'm okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. You can take your 5 minutes because your session was supposed to be later, but so that we don't pressure you. So take your 5 minutes, then you can come back, refresh and ready to fire.
Okay, well, whatever you like. Terry, are you okay to keep dancing?
Yeah, we keep dancing.
Still dancing? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back in 5. I promise
Yeah.
to make it worth your while. Promise.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
So Terry, so let's allow him, please. Our audience, we're so sorry for the mix-up. Our keynote speaker, I guess, having a bit of technical glitches, so he's going to join us very shortly, and that is why we have to call the next speaker. So what we'll do now is to Terry, I'll leave it for you. You're going to know what to do for the next 2-3 minutes to get Dean back.
Okay, so
But particularly, let me just speak about Dean. Okay, when he's back, I can speak about it. Okay, go ahead, Terry. Go ahead, Terry.
So I guess we should have maybe the 1 minute of the team song, and they'll probably come back in after 1 minute. And they'll take it off from there.
I've been down the road where failure seemed familiar. No one thought that I would ever come this far. When everything was telling me that it was over, still there was a fire burning in my heart. There were days I felt like I was at my lowest. I pushed so hard I couldn't see beyond the pain. I never knew I made it high enough to notice I'm getting closer, stronger than I've ever been. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, I will fly, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I am living proof that nothing is impossible. I beat the odds when hope was nowhere to be found. There was a strength that carried me through every obstacle. It lets me know that it's too late to give up now. And I am not afraid to climb another mountain, to risk it all, to face my deepest, darkest fear, to live a dream much bigger than I can imagine. Because I want the world to know that I am here. one dream away from everything I hope to be. I am one step closer to the finish line. I know that every stride will lead me to my destiny, and I'm one reach away from taking what is mine. I believe that I'm unstoppable. I believe I've only just begun. I will conquer, I will fly, reach my peak, I will. And there's nothing that can ever bring me down. I believe that dreams are tameable, and I believe that wings were made to fly. I'll touch the sky, reach for the stars, do the impossible. I believe that nothing can. I believe that nothing will. I believe nothing will ever bring me down.
So we are good. And I also believe Dean is also back. So we can then get going.
Actually, I was just thinking, can you come and do, and when it's my party and be my DJ? You got great music, man.
Come on, Dean. Don't worry. We're
That
gonna
works.
do that. We're gonna
Next
do
time
that
we'll
at
do that. You
SIMO.
can come and do the DJ for me, man. I love
I'm
your
gonna
music.
tell the president of SIMO to get that done for us. We're gonna book it down. So let me quickly introduce Dean.
You
I'm
got
going to
it.
just do a very quick short profile, and then we can read more, and then we can follow Dean on LinkedIn. But one thing I'm going to say about him is a real senior in the profession of marketing. He is the vice president of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Management, Ontario, Canada, and I'm also a member. I'm the regional executive, coordinating executive for Africa, and Dean is our vice president. And I can tell you, you're going to get a lot from this discussion. He's a fantastic, and he's going to share from his depth of experience. I'm going to leave his profile in the room, and I'm going to also share his LinkedIn so that you can follow up and then you can get engaged more with Dean. So distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for the Career Summit 6.0, let's welcome Dean Bokidis.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Dean.
Birthday boy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, buddy. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning here. Wow, I see somebody. Oh, here I am. Looks like I'm in the middle of this. Okay. Good to see everybody. Thank you very much for coming today on a beautiful day. I'm humbled to be here with such a great group. We're going to start the career. I spend a lot of time. I'm passionate about. I work with SIMO. I work with some incredible people at SIMO. Very international group. I cut my teeth about 15 years ago teaching in post-secondary. So I've been a consultant. I've lived in 30 countries because I was in hospitality. I'm just to give you a little bit of a background on how I'm going to frame my career talk. And about 15 years ago, I started teaching at our colleges in Ontario. And I fell in love with the concept of being in a classroom and working with adult minds and working with helping people find their goals. And that ended up evolving into still being in industry and still working in the classroom, and combining both worlds really started to show some areas that were lacking. Okay, and that's where that's how I ended up meeting Youssef and meeting Dr. Youssef and Dr. Ayo and the team, and we ended up. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So one of the things that, as I say, that I'm going to talk a little bit about here is one of the things that I've noticed in the classrooms working with adults from many parts of the world in our Canadian college system and with CIMO is the need for change. CIMO, the Charter Institute of Marketing Management of Ontario, not just accredits marketing courses, but takes marketing to a different level, takes marketing to a level of leadership, communication, trustworthiness. CIMO is very much the voice for trustworthy and ethical collaboration between college and post-secondary institutions, industry, and community. Allow me to walk you through our transition and how this works. We're going to look at global opportunities for careers. What we're going to talk about today. Okay, we're sowing the seeds for future analysis and discussion. So put your comments in the question. I'm going to be around for questions after this, thoughts you might have, ways we can continue this conversation down the road. We're going to talk about the difference today between education and learning. One of the things that I noticed teaching in some fabulous institutions in Ontario was the differences between education and learning and how the industry globally has to change and evolve. And this is most interesting. Many, many studies have been done pre-COVID, post-COVID, during COVID. COVID accelerated a lot of the issues here. And this is one of the many articles that I thought we would share with. Are we in our college and post-secondary institutions really concentrating on career development? What is our purpose? Where are we going? Do we even understand what career development is? Now, this may sound a little interesting to many of you, like, why would I even be talking about this? And I want to explain to you there's a reason behind this. Our post-secondary institutions were established in the industrialized era. They were established for a specific reason, to train people for a job. What's happened with the pace of innovation and the pace of change increasing, it's becoming very, very clear that there is a gap between skill sets and what education was originally designed to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today for all of us. Many of our colleges and university programs in their way promise to direct you towards a job. Right? And this is what we've been doing for a long time. Many of you have been through school. Many of you have been through many, many courses, right? And you were being prepared for a job, not a career. Recognize the difference between the two. All right? Many of our institutions are still using a 200-year-old model of mass production. When we switched to agriculture, when we switched from an agrarian culture into an industrialized culture. Increasingly, what's happening with the jobs we're training for is we're training people for jobs that in fact may not be there. And some of you may be experiencing part of this right now. The biggest challenge we all face as adult learners, whether you're in school, whether you're in industry, whether you're just, whether you're reinventing your life and your career, is we have to, when we talk about education, when we talk about learning, it's not to teach learners what to think, but introducing the concepts on how to think. And this is a departure for many of us. All right. Everybody cool so far? How am I doing?
Great, great.
Yeah. So far, Esther, you look like you want to say something. You want to jump in? You good? Are we developing skills that won't be automated? We're all talking about, the large language models. We're talking about AI 2.0. And a lot of us are really excited about this and about what's going on. Now, there's lots of controversy on, are we using it? Are we using it effectively? Do we really understand what it is we're developing? Should we be more ethically responsible? Should we be more risk conscious of how we're doing what we're doing. And the reason I call AI 2.0 is AI 1.0, we already know. That happened 15 years ago with this beast, with social media, where we saw many wonderful things that happened with it, and also so many negative things that we've learned that were unintended consequences. And we're still trying to figure out how to address that. So, are we developing skills that won't be automated? This is the difference between jobs and careers. Many of us are in jobs that are getting disrupted. What skills should we be working on, all of us, so that we can work with the machines as opposed to having the machines replace us? What kind of skills are we talking about here? Well, one of the biggest skills, incidentally, I hope you guys like that picture. That's the wonderful thing about Northern Canada and the northern part of our planet, actually, is Aurora Borealis and how it does. It's very magical, and I find it very humbling. Anyway, part of that is the emotion, which is a great human skill, something our machines, I'm told, in our lifetime probably won't be able to do, and it's one of our biggest strengths, right? Emotion plays a huge part in human connection. The art of physicians being able to diagnose. I've done work with frontline medical people here where I've designed programs. So how to diagnose people, our First Nations people. This is something that our Western medicine couldn't cope with very well at the beginning. So I did some work for Cancer Care Ontario on how to diagnose our First Nations people, our Inuit and our Métis, and understanding the human skill and the different cultures and how they respond to certain things. To Western medicine, for example, became a huge eye-opener for our Western trained doctors. So the emotion plays a huge part. Understanding the person you're talking to. Emotion is critical in us being able to understand and communicate better. The second is context. And I want to, these are two really great human things. Our species is a storytelling species. We've been telling stories for 30,000 years, from cave walls to everywhere. This is what we are. Second is context, and it's really important that we understand that. For us to learn what we should be learning today, it has to be kept in context. And that pushes against a lot of things that marketers do. Right? Marketers want you to buy something. They want you to understand it. We have to keep it in context. One of the most important reasons, all right, is communication. What does this mean? It means years and years and years ago, our parents, our grandparents were trained to do a job. They lived on an escalator. They came out of school. They got a job. They could stay in a career forever, and it worked. What do we need to learn today, every one of us, ladies and gentlemen? And this has happened to every one of us in my profession, all over the place. We have to become more agile in our learning. That's our ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn something new. And for many of us, this is really difficult. And I'm not really sure why. Can anybody explain why it's difficult for us to do this? Why is it difficult for us to learn, unlearn, and relearn? Anybody got any ideas? I put you to sleep already? My goodness, it's first thing in the morning.
No, well, sometimes, if I can come on board, sometimes I guess we feel we know too much, or we have so much information already. So, and it takes us a long while to really even process what we know. And then when new information comes, we try to balance out and struggle within, and then like, oh, so, what you have learned are taking you thus far, and the new things you are getting now look like, okay, you need to begin to disengage from what you know before. So it takes another process. But before you even digest or get through the new information, another information is already on the door. So it's a continuous battle. But again, you have to be flexible, and you have to continuously open yourself up more for information. Thank you.
You said that perfectly. Thank you so much. And that's exactly correct. And it's instinctive in us, right? I mean, when we went from crawling on all fours when we were babies and then we decided to try standing on two legs, the first thing that happened, you fall down. Now, instinctively, every baby stands up again without thinking about it and keeps walking until they can walk, right? Kachi, this is something that we do. It's instinctive in us. We keep doing it. And then we go to school and then we become adults. And then what happens is the concept of failing is something we become insecure with. And yet the idea of failing is the only way we learn is what's instinctive in us, but our educational system kind of pushed it out of us. We have to be comfortable in the concept of the only way we learn is to try and fail. And that is something that's really important. It was pretty simple in the past that we would go through right? We would go to school, we would get a job. The job wouldn't change too much because the pace of change didn't happen very much. So you could go into a job, learn a little bit as you went along, that's fine. In today's hyper-paced world, everywhere, between climate change, that is definitely impacting many parts of the world in unique ways, right? Having to rethink and reinvent an economy, right? Something that we hadn't considered before, but every part of the world has its own unique set of situations. That brings me to this. What do we learn today? It's continuous. It's this line down below. It's no longer an escalator. You're learning, you're going to try. It doesn't work. You're going to try something else. The key to the success in learning today is your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and be okay with that. And also remember, it's instinctively in us. You need to be able to look at yourself that way. Our ability to manage and utilize emotion, to take into account the effects, okay, are key ingredients for what? The skills most necessary today for careers, your ability to critically and analytically think. Every industry member I talk to, right, says, I need to find people who can analyze something and critically think because a lot of the stuff that we used to do no longer applies. We need to be able to change many of our thinking modes into ethical thinking. And I find that this is one of the favorite topics that I do when I do leadership and talk about communication, is bringing ethics back into a conversation. SEMO has these conversations with the executive all the time. I agree with that dog, incidentally. But ethical thinking, do we really need to sell more stuff to you just to buy? Or is there another way we can approach it? The whole concept of rethinking our economies and how we do this. This is where a huge part of our future is. And it's a challenge, ladies and gentlemen, for every one of us. To me, it's exciting. When the glass breaks, the light shines through the cracks. This is something that I look at every day, and I encourage all the people that I work with to look at. It's a different way of thinking, being creative about solving problems. Not sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to give it a shot. Learning how to communicate really well and cultural literacy is hugely important in today's world. We're dealing with different demographics, different psychographics, different behaviors, different perspectives on things. I speak to so many colleagues as professors who are saying, and when I speak to industry and I talk to my graduate students, they're finding a lack of communication because the managers aren't sure how to communicate with such a diverse group of people they've never had to do this with before. And they're reaching out going, how do we do this? This is something that SEMO is building into its system. SEMO, in addition to just marketing programs, actually accredits and now consults to industry and consults to colleges and universities on how to do this better. And we're assembling a huge network of people with specific skill sets to do just that. Adaptive learning. The pace of change is happening so quickly today. Learning out of a classroom and a textbook? No. And we also know for learning and development, as much as that is, we put a lot of stuff on LinkedIn for learning and development. How many of you have tried some of those products? How many of you have found varying degrees of success with it? Are we really learning, or are we just reading about it, but can we actually do it? So I'm going to pause for a second because this is something that I hear a lot about for people who are in industry. Uh-oh. I just left a big conference in Toronto for Toronto Marketing Hub 2 weeks earlier. I was at the national conference in Calgary, Canada, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, for all the public colleges across the country. And what was interesting is both conversations came up. Future career paths. What do we do next? How should we change? So industry, right? Writ large, public institutions. How do we adapt? Where do we go next? What is our purpose now? Everybody's re-examining all this. I was at the Toronto Marketing Hub. These are all people who are in the marketing industry, various levels of experience. Same questions. It's really very interesting to me. Everybody's looking at career development today from a different perspective. It boiled down to all of these three. When people are now saying, so what is it we're here to do? If I'm a college or I'm a university, what is our purpose? What are our values? What are we passionate about? As an individual, when people are looking at changing industries, I could talk to Kachi for a second and say, okay, so you're thinking about your career next. You're thinking about what you might want to do next. What do you think you want to do? I've talked to so many people that have said, you know what, I'm a lawyer, and now we're in a business program, an MBA program, and I go, hi, I'm from Turkey. And I go, oh, your parents pushed you into law? And they went, yeah. And guess what? I kind of thought it wasn't really what I liked. It wasn't really the most important thing, right? Not because, whoop, I'm gone. Somebody took over hosting. Somebody, Dr. Io, somebody's taken over the host. Oh, thank you very much. I thought I was getting fired before I even got finished. Holy smoke. Okay. And this is something that's really important. Okay. These three things I'd like you all to think about. What is, right? What gets you up in the morning? What's really important to you? What are your values? Every one of us has to think about this. I talked to my colleagues at CMO about this. I talked to my colleagues, the professors that I've hired, the professors that I work with, and say, you know, what do you think your purpose really is in front of the classroom today? You know, why are you there? What do you think it is? Is it to, and they go, well, I'm here to teach. And I said, well, no, you're not actually. You're not here to teach at all. You're here to inspire people to want to learn about different and new concepts. Teaching adults is gone. We teach children. We don't teach adults. Adults learn. What do you want to learn? I have many of these adults in my class that are going, I came here from, you know, with a different perspective. Okay, what is it you think you want to do? What is really, you know, what are you passionate about? What will get you up in the morning and make you feel good? And when you go to bed at night, what will you say about, I had a good day today. I did something that I'm happy to do. And that's really important. Your values are really important. Do you want to work for, what kind of companies do you want to work for? What kind of organizations do you want to work with? And this is a great way to think about your career in terms of it's really important to you. Someone's got to mute, please. Your values define you. Right? Your values define who you want to work for and what you want to do, because you're going to spend 50 hours a week working with a group of people. Do you share the same values on the purpose of your organization, on the products and services that you do? If you don't, this is what contributes to burnout. We keep hearing about burnout all the time. So what are your values? Okay, what's important to you in your life? These are really important parts that help us establish our career. The reason I do what I do, the greatest value, one of my core values, some of my core values are helping people Figure out what their values are, what their goals are. Try to help them define what they want to do. What that means is this: what are your non-negotiables? Can you work for an organization? Can you work with a group of people where it may be an income for you, but does it actually work for you? These are things I want you to seriously think about. Doesn't mean you have to change tomorrow, but you might want to consider it for your career. What are you passionate about? Now, passion drives you to do it. Passion isn't enough, right? Passion's fundamental. It helps. But what you really need with passion is, do you also have the skill? Because something that is most important, and everybody always says, follow your passion, partially true. But I'm going to add to that. If the stuff you're really good at, the skills you're really good at, you get passionate about. So you may be passionate about doing something that you can't do very well. I want you to think about that twice, because maybe that's a dream and not really a passion. Look at the skill sets you've got, the things that come naturally to you, or the things that you really like working at. And the better you get at it, the more passionate about it you become. This is paramount. And that works into your values as well. So find that passion along with the skill set. I have people that love doing math and love doing physics. They're passionate about numbers. It's a logic that works for them. This is great. They're really good at that. Now they get passionate about, what will you do with this? And I have some that go into teaching with it. I have others that say, I don't want to do teaching in it, but I want to help people who don't understand the concept of math or physics differently. It's how you want to look at it, right? And then it comes down to what your purpose really is. So what the heck is your purpose? It's a profound concept, right? It's how your values and your passions come together. The French have a beautiful term for this, your raison d'être. And it's a beautiful way to put it, and it's true. Your reason for being. What is your purpose? What are you passionate about? I'd like you to think about that, and I'd like you to, right, as you're hearing more and more speakers today, you're going to hear more and more perspectives on things. I'd like you to consider that for yourself. And if you're ever confused about it, feel free to reach out, okay, on LinkedIn, and we can have a conversation about this. This is something that is really important. And as you start to uncover it, you'll find there's a consistent theme in it. Your career on the surface may change. I've gone from building hotels and rebuilding hotels in different parts of the world, okay, in 20 countries plus, okay, to going from that to consulting for small businesses, to working with CMO, to also and developing a team there and teaching at a graduate level at college. Seemingly all different careers, and they actually have a single purpose. And that's the idea. I want you to look at the same thing for yourself. Your career may change on the surface, but there's a constant theme. So, according to LinkedIn and a million other surveys around the world, what are the skills everybody hires for? It's not technical, it's this. Some people call them soft skills. I call them essential skills, because this is what you all hire for. Every industry leader I talk to says, I need people who can adapt. I need people who can communicate and collaborate. Notice that's not working in teams. That's collaboration. There's difference. What's the difference between teamwork and collaboration? Pretty straightforward, to tell you the truth, right? Collaboration is, I understand argumentation. I understand diversity and different perspectives. I also understand conflict and conflict resolution, and I understand mediation. This is what people are looking for, because this is the essence of leadership and communication. It's not just putting a bunch of people together that argue and the bully gets their way, or somebody else is told not to talk. Excuse me, young lady, I'm sorry, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know more than you. How do you handle that? How do you collaborate and bring this back into consensus? This is what people are looking to hire today, more and more and more, and it's a global issue. These are essential skills for life that are not necessarily taught in school. They're not necessarily in curriculum. This is something CIMO is working on with many institutions, professionally and otherwise, to bring back, right? These essential skills, right, are really the most important. How do you collaborate? How well do you lead? Lead does not mean you have to be in the C-suite. What is leadership? Leadership is as simple as this. I'm brand new in this job, and I look around at somebody I'm standing beside and say, I'm a little confused. It's my first day. I got a couple of questions. And somebody says, go talk to Kathy. That's leadership. Why? She's the one that can help me out, answer questions for me. And it may be an entry-level job. You may be, you know, at a, you know, medium level, a supervisory level only, right? But that's leadership quality. Everybody, every organization on the planet wants a bunch of leaders at multiple levels within their organization. Leadership is a way of thinking. What does all this mean? What it means, get comfortably uncomfortable. Not having the answers right away, but a belief that you're going to find them. Fail and fail often. Everybody recognizes this guy. Failure doesn't mean you'll never achieve. It just means it takes a little longer. Be okay with this, ladies and gentlemen. Be okay with that. Adaptive thinking, critical thinking, collaboration, where it didn't work so great the last time. What will I do better? What will we do differently next time? This is the essence of what career development is all about in the future. Simon Sinek did a great job with this idea, the idea of why do you do what you do? Every organization knows what they do. They don't necessarily know why they do it. Back to the conversation that I've been having with the National Conference for Colleges. This was something that came up, right? Why do we do this? What is our purpose? How do we do it? And why do we do it? I was talking to the marketing executives, the people in marketing. What is it you do and why do you do it? What is it about it that you do and why? And that's really something we really want you to think about. Why? What is it that brings you to this? And why do you want to do it? What is your passion, purpose? Every one of us has to think this way. It's part of something we reflect on a regular routine. Once you start to figure this part out, the answers get a little clearer. The journey to get there, remember, it's a journey. It takes time. Be kind to yourself, please. Yeah, okay. So I'm a bit of a space nut. Sorry about that. So what does that mean? That means really get into deep learning. Everybody like this picture? It's kind of cool. How am I doing time-wise? Sorry, guys, I wasn't even watching. I'm listening. I'm watching you guys, and hopefully you're enjoying some of this. Deep learning. What does that even mean? It's kind of like an iceberg. Yes, and in the part of the world I live in, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of common. Sadly, I guess, there, right? Surface learning used to be you see the pieces that's on top. What deep learning is you have a full understanding of it. And there was a great professor in the United States, Feynman. His name was Feynman. And he used to teach physics. And that's got to be an incredibly difficult course for anybody to get their head around. And one of the things he used to say is you don't really know it until you can explain it to me easily. And he was really talking about deep learning. And he's been a role model for me. And I've listened to a lot of his lectures. And what it comes down to is you don't know it until you can explain it to somebody simply. Right? You learn a new concept or whatever it happens to be. Then, Cassie, what I want you to do is take it home and sit around and talk to your family about it. And when they look at you and say, oh, I understand now, then you really know it. You deeply know it. Why is that important? Because with deep learning, once you fully understand it, now you can adapt. Now you can change with it. Now you can grow with the concept. We live in a world where we say we don't need to know it because I can always Google it. That's dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous because it means you learn nothing. How many of you find yourself getting dumber and dumber because everything you do, you look at your phone for a quick answer, but 5 minutes later, it's like, wait a minute. Career develop means I really need to learn this. I need to be able to remember it. Right? That means focuses on what is meant. What do you really know? Can you understand it? Can you explain it to somebody else in your office easily? It builds on what you've known before and where you may go with it. So everybody's rushing out today to learn about AI, and they're trying to say we're going to use the large language models, you know, in HR for hiring, or we're going to use it here. And then they're finding out it doesn't work as well as they would have liked. Why? Well, because they really didn't understand how AI actually works and how the large language model actually worked. And they started to see gaps. Well, maybe if we take more time and study it and learn it and understand it, we can better figure out how to use it best. It's not about memorizing or reciting. It's not about cramming, right? It's about deep learning. Most of us in our jobs remember, understand, and apply. I'm going to suggest, ladies and gentlemen, for all of us and our future, it's to definitely remember, understand, and apply, but most importantly, analyze what it is you hear and read, evaluate it, and then create something new out of it. And that's where we need to spend most of our time in our career development. I need to analyze what it is I'm hearing and seeing and reading. I need to assess it and evaluate it. I need to analyze it. Now I need to create something that I can use for it. I'm working with a lot of marketing people today. I'm working with a lot of deans and colleges and universities that are going, how do we fix our programming because we're not keeping up with the pace of change? That's where the analysis and the evaluation are coming in. Well, then what do we need to do this? That's where working with 3 stakeholder groups works. Industry needs to work with post-secondary, needs to work with the graduates. Don't just run back to school to get another diploma. Don't get another tool unless it's the right tool for your toolbox. You need to think about that first. You need to be a lateral thinker. It's rarely taught in school, but it's something you can learn. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. Any thoughts? I'm just taking a look here and I'm reading some of the comments. What are the prerequisites for deep learning? Well, I hope I answered that now a little bit better. Okay, and deep learning is something that's really an important part of what we do. How do you get to deep learning? And those are really, really good questions. One of the things I'm going to suggest is becoming more self-aware. That's something that most of us aren't really good at. Gentlemen, women are better at it than men. Just saying, for the record. Not really sure why, but they are. What is emotional intelligence and self-awareness? This is what everybody on the planet hires for. Right? And it's absolutely true. And you can think of the people that you know and some of the mentors or some of the heroes in your lives or role models that you know. Okay. These people were people that had high levels of emotional intelligence and self-awareness. It wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about being perfect. It's how do I understand myself? How do I develop it? So when you go in for an interview and somebody says to you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? How do you answer that question? Self-awareness. The most self-aware people I know naturally start to build their leadership abilities. It's a really important part of who and what we are, and it makes a big difference. How we develop it, it's a way of thinking. Nelson Mandela was fabulous at it. he learned from his dad, who was his mentor, who was a chief. Right? And the whole concept here, I learned a lot talking to our elders in our First Nations community in Canada, who were a lot better at this. And I learned many, many different ways of learning about self-awareness and emotional intelligence from them. Now I'm going to share some stuff with you. Why is this important? Because the better you know yourself, the better you can begin to help others and tackle the problems for your career and the obstacles you may be facing. These are some books I would like you to consider, and I will be sharing this PowerPoint with you guys to follow up. So I'll be okay. So just so that you know, I'll be sharing. These are books are worth reading at some point and taking pieces out of them. This gentleman, Daniel Goleman, happens to teach, I think it's Yale. You know, one of the pioneers on emotional intelligence. What is it all about? Why is it important to you? Well, it'll help you improve your interpersonal skills. And that's something that's really important. Everybody needs it today for a career. It talks about who you are. You start to figure out who you are. What are your values and your needs? How well do you behave given certain circumstances? What are our unconscious biases and our conscious biases? We all have them. Is it okay to be biased? It's human. How you deal with it is what's important. It's okay to be human. We are. How we deal with it is what matters. Being self-aware, the impression you make on others. It makes Abigail, it makes a big difference. You may not like me, but I will promise you, I will never give you a reason to dislike me. That's really a powerful statement, isn't it? But it's true. The impression I make on you. Now, the impression I think I might make on you is one thing. But do I make the impression on you that I would like you to have is a different story. That's a heavy concept in itself. Start to figure out what your blind spots are. You know, the triggers we've all got. Everybody's got one. Right? Kachi doesn't have any. I know that. Right? I know. You don't have to tell him. I know it's true. Take a read through. Goleman, this is a great interview here at Harvard. I'm going to ask you to listen to it at some point. I think you'll find it invaluable and it may inspire you to read more. Susan David also talks about emotional agility. Okay. Fabulous, very smart people. These people study. Suggest you read some of their stuff. Sign up and listen to some of the stuff they do. Again, self-awareness, career development, leadership is a way of thinking and it's a journey. You're not going to finish it or 2 or 3 books, but it's a beginning. Here's some other people I really strongly suggest you read. Susan Cain's book on quiet. Tasha Eureck's book on insight. Tasha Eurek is actually, these are wonderful books to read. Like I was talking to Abigail about, and I said, you know, she may not like me, but, or the impression I may make on somebody, right? I think, all right, TT, I think I'm a nice person. TT may say, you know what? He strikes me as somebody that's arrogant. And then I would say, oh my gosh, if I left you with that impression, that wasn't my intent. And that's what self-awareness is about, and being able to have those open conversations. In Quiet, she talks about being an introvert and the power of introversions and how they think differently. How many of you are introverts? Why do you think you're an thank you for raising your hand. You're an introvert?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? And how do you know that?
Yes, I am.
You're one too?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, are you? How do you know?
Well, some basic signals. One is enjoying my own company, okay, and usually getting drained by multitudes.
Oh, I lost you there for a sec, but yeah, no, you went, no, Dapo, you went down. I couldn't, you muted.
Okay, I think the first thing I said is enjoying my own company.
Yep.
Okay, that was the first thing. And then getting drained, you know, getting my energy drained when I'm with multitude. You know, I don't like those tumultuous crowd and where you're pushing. You just wanting to, you know, enjoy time with self and introspective thinking. These are pointers to me that tells me that, hey, perhaps I'm an introvert.
You know what, sir? You said that really, really well on all counts. And you did that, and that's what's really important. And now what would be interesting is what you bring to a group, in a team group, there is vitally important. The concept of self-awareness works like this. If I know this is how Dapo thinks, then guess what? And he's on my team. I'm not going to ask you to talk in a meeting because that's not what you do. You need time to process. You need time to want to think about it because that's what introverts do. They're not the first person that opens up their hands. They do not want to dominate conversation. That's more of an extrovert. I would turn to you and say, Dapo, at the end, you know, when the meeting's about over, do me a favor. After you had a chance to think about it, send me an email on your thoughts. That's what self-awareness is about. That's how we connect with people. Those are the essential skill sets that we're talking about and why it's important, right? You may be quiet. Then one of the things that you need to be able to say if you are quiet, because some people may think, oh, Dapo just doesn't care. He's not saying anything. He's indifferent. Again, being self-aware, you say, hey, guys, I'm a bit of an introvert. I may not talk an awful lot, but please, it's just the way I am. Please feel free to engage with me on one-on-one. I'm better one-on-one. And that becomes a great conversation. And you need to make that clear to people. Again, that's where insight comes from in who and what we are. How other people see us, is that the way we want to be seen? Critical skill sets for leadership, for career development. These are some other great books. If you're not sure what books to buy, this is a great one. How many of you have read The 5 Love Languages? And everybody always looks at me. Gary Chapman was a guy that he was a marriage counselor, and he talked about 5 love languages of love. So he talked about words of affection. He talked about 4 or 5 different love languages. What they really are languages of connection. Why is it here for career? Words of affection. I work with Kachi. Okay. I can't say to Kachi, I love you, even though Kachi likes to, maybe she likes to hear these words on a regular basis because that's part of connection for her with the people close to her in her life. And that's okay. But what I can do when I know words of affection matter is I can say, Kachi, thank you for working so hard today. I appreciate the work you do. There's ways you can have it as a personal and a professional relationship, but the 5 love languages are also languages of connection. Doing things for you, spending time with you. These are connection languages. Understanding how other people work and how you work are critical career leadership steps. These aren't soft skills, ladies and gentlemen, they're essential skills. And then understanding body language, nonverbal communication. Who's better at it, men or women? Who's better at nonverbal communication?
The women.
Both.
Both?
That's a tough call.
You're lucky this is remote, Dapo. If we've been sitting in one room, you could have been in trouble there. Everybody, so most of you think women?
Yeah, women.
Why?
Well,
Why are you better at nonverbal communication?
okay, because men are more expressive, as in they say their mind the way it is. They just pour out what they have in their mind. But women are a bit reserved in being free with communication. So they try to be polite with their words, but their body says the rest.
That sounds pretty good. I think it sounds like experience there. That's what I'm hearing. I'm thinking. Okay. Anybody else? It's interesting. You guys are making some good points. Nonverbal, women are better at it initially, mostly because it's hardwired. and into the female of the species. When that little baby is born, right? It cannot speak, and yet it communicates to the young mom, the brand new mom, really well, and they communicate back and forth. If men get the equal amount of time with that infant, they learn nonverbal communication skills much better. Men don't normally get it because it's not normally it's not normally in their wheelhouse. Understanding nonverbal communication is critical to the success, especially with our diverse nature today, our workforces today. Understanding how different communities, how different genders, different demographics communicate nonverbally matters. Being self-aware, like I said, self-assessments are really important. Try some of these books. Learn from your experiences, diarize this. Write down your feelings, talk about them, learn from them. Take some time to reflect. Turn this damn thing off. We don't need to be on all the time. Solicit feedback. Ask people. Tasha Eurich talked about that in Insight a lot, where she is a professional in her field, and she was shocked at how some of their friends, how she was, how some of her friends perceived her. Really important. It's being human. I'm going to pause for a second. Ooh, where do we draw the line between being emotionally intelligent and mentally vulnerable? That's an incredibly good question. And the better you understand yourself, the better that would be. I'm not doing that very well, and I'm not a psychologist, so I don't want to go into areas where I'm not qualified. Emotional intelligence really is about understanding yourself. Being mentally vulnerable would put you at a victim state where, it's okay. Like I said, the better you understand yourself and accept yourself, the better off you are. And that's as far as that can go. If you need more help with that, you seek counsel from professionals that could help you. All right. Did that help your question? Does that sort of answer? And yes, I'll send you Victor, I'll definitely share the decks with you so you can get a chance to review it. Okay?
I did. Thank you.
My pleasure. And it's like the most important thing is do your best to live the way you would want other people to live, how you would want to be seen and live, right? That makes sense. So don't be vulnerable about it. Canada has a real problem with that right now, where we're so self-conscious about, insulting somebody. If you know you're not, and you know that was never your intent, cut yourself some slack. Be okay. Just be human. And if you know you're not hurting somebody intentionally, that's okay. Cool? Kind of, sort of?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am. I hope I helped. Did I help?
It did help. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, last thing we're going to talk about from my perspective, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, if I've gone on a little too long, but thank you for the feedback. I'm enjoying working with you guys in this. This is something that's really important, and it's one of the biggest skill sets that every employer I talk to, whether they're national, international, this is huge today. How well can we work in groups? And there's many international students or adults that I work with that have come from homogeneous cultures, not heterogeneous cultures. And the biggest challenge that many people have is making that switch. Right? And many people have this, it's not a bad thing, it just is. Working in diverse groups is difficult. So understanding yourself is really important. There's 3 dimensions to what makes up our personality ultimately. The externals that you can see here, from marital status to family status to how you look. A lot of this is done by gender and culture, right? And the culture can even be regionally done. Okay. Your background, your education and work experience, recreational habits have a lot to do with how you see yourself. If you're a foodie versus an athlete, that can have an awful lot to do with how you see yourself when you look back in the mirror, okay? Where you are actually located. And that doesn't mean as a country, it means even as a region within a country, how you see yourself, and your income level can to some degree of how that works. Your internal, we know. How much of this is controlled by family, how much of it's controlled by things that we don't necessarily have full control over ourselves, right? Our cultural dimensions, right? Ultimately, all this stuff affects being more self-aware, understanding yourself a little bit better, forgiving yourself and understanding yourself, all right? And how you fit into the bigger picture, where you're most comfortable, what are your personal values, passions, and skills. The value of this, more and more of us are working in heterogeneous groups. What's the advantage of a heterogeneous group? Huge diversity of opinion, which is fabulous today. We need much more. The challenges that we have as a species on this planet, whose personality is changing, is really necessary. We need everybody's perspective. We need the perspective from Nigeria as much as we need the perspective from Alberta, as much as we need the perspective from Argentina and Peru and Ecuador. And this is one of the things that's important, because everybody, whether you're a farmer, whether you're an engineer, whatever you are, wherever you're going, all this becomes important. You bring something unique that has value. And we need to embrace more of this.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of where I want to stop, sir.
Awesome. 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 Oh, wow. We're going to do this again, Dean, and we're going to have a specialized session. I know you still have so much to share, but for time, I can assure you we're going to have more of this. Thank you so much.
It was an honor, sir. I hope
I get a lot, and I want to ask. Sorry.
I hope I didn't put too many people to sleep.
Oh, no.
No, you did
see
not.
the response in the chat room, and I also want the people to respond what they gain, their point, what nailed it for them. All right.
Thank you, sir. And I'll be sending this PowerPoint to you. If you want to share it with the group, I would,
Fantastic.
Please feel free. And I look forward to seeing you again in our next meeting at CIMO.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You don't mind if I stick around and listen?
Oh, you're not going anywhere.
Thank
It's
you.
not over. There's
Okay.
simply question. So after some speakers, then there will be some interactive session. Oh, you can deliver and then don't get some question. Thank you.
You've got a great group here, and I'm loving listening to this and getting the perspective. So it's really, really great.
Thank you. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Dean. Please, let's give it to Dean. Let's give Dean the clap. All right. Thank you so much. So I let the moderator take over. We have Dr. Nia Adesanya ready now. So Terry, it's over to your team.
See, I put Terry to sleep. That's not good. Where'd he go?
Don't worry, Terry's going to sleep.
So thank you so much, Dean, for that very inspiring section. And I believe gained so much value, so much knowledge that it's going to take us the next 12 months to put everything into practice. Thank you so much for that section. So without wasting too much time, I believe I learned Dr. Nia Adesanya is in the room already. I've already read his profile. So we're going to go straight right on into the keynote for this Career Summit 6.0. So thank you. Can we invite and bring on right now Dr. Nia Adesanya as he gives us his opening keynote for Career Summit 6.0.
Just 1 second before Pastor Nia launch, let me say this. Pastor Nia, I have a picture I took with you about 20 years ago in this business of speaking. Please let me give it up to him. He's one of the people that really, spotlighted me, and took me on the journey of this speaking engagement and imparting.
Don't show the picture, please. Go ahead, don't worry. Go ahead, don't worry.
All right, not now. I'll share. Thank you. You have the floor.
Good afternoon from Nigeria.
Good afternoon,
I
sir.
need to see-
Good
I need to see some
afternoon. We can
responses
hear
from
you. We can see you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Awesome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So as you are saying good afternoon, can I know where you're connecting from? Because I saw that our moderator is dressing somehow. I used to know that he was in Nigeria, but right now I think he's no more in Nigeria. And then just let us know where you're connecting from. Luxembourg, yeah. So let us know some of us that are still remaining here.
Good afternoon, Dr. Adesoye. This is Eniola from Abuja.
Annie, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Saudi
great
Arabia, fantastic.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Saudi Arabia.
Wale Thomas from Las Gidi.
Wale. Somebody's from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, I hope you're going to watch the boxing match.
Rami Azan from Lagos.
From the United States of Lagos.
Thank you.
I'm from my village, Ilesha.
Ayo from Ilorin.
Okay, now. Awesome. Okay, good. Fantastic. Now, quickly, like you can see me, that I couldn't take off this microphone because I had to rush in from a speaking engagement down here. I'm in the next room. So they told me that they don't want me to take it off, that I should come back immediately. I'm ready because they don't want to go through the remiking me over again. So that's why you see this microphone here. It's got nothing to do with this. First, let me say a big thank you to Ayo Adeyemi. Thank you so much for what you've done. You've been a great influence to me, my life, and my startup. Remember how we started from bootstrapping and everything like that. You've been so tremendously of great impact. And as you celebrate your birthday today, I pray that God will open more doors for you. God will see you through, and then it will cause His face to shine upon you like never before. The Bible says, as your days are, so shall your strength be. I pray that God will grant you more strength, physical strength, emotional strength, and spiritual strength, and financial strength also, in the name of Jesus. You will never know a better last year. Every day will be a progress for you. Every year will be a progress for you, in Jesus' name. I pray for the kind grace and the anointing of the Lord to be around you and your family. Protection is yours. Increase is yours as you celebrate your birthday. Are you turning 50 today? Yeah, is it 50 or 51 or 52? Or you don't want to tell your age like the woman?
Okay,
like
it's
the
50. In some countries, it's 50 already. In Nigeria,
oh, yeah.
Tomorrow. In Canada, tomorrow.
Okay, good. Welcome to
He has to pay. He has to pay for that, doctor. Please, let's
no
bill
problem.
him.
Association of the 50 people.
No. The person talking, are you 50 already?
Age and Canada age.
Just 1 month. Just 1 month.
Canada, Nigeria
No,
age.
since last year. How bad? Doctor Ayo, you pay fine.
No problem.
Don't worry, we have not admitted him yet. We've not admitted him yet.
Yeah.
He has to pay. Anyway, thank you so much, all of us. Thank you. I pray that I'll make this as short as possible. God helping me. And then also I want to say a big thank you to Dean. I started with him. So I started and I finished with him. And I must say thank you for the things that you're teaching. Thank you for the love language that you've taught us. Thank you for all those things, because I strongly believe that as you grow in your career, your language must change. I'm going to talk about that. The kind of language you have, the kind of things you say at the base should be different from what you say at the top. So you must know when the demand for your reasoning and your language needs to change. Hopefully I will talk about that today. And according to the birthday boy, sorry, before I go on, please, can you put your hands together in the chat room and say, God bless you. Thank you, Dean. the last speaker, just say a big thank you to him. Right now, I'm looking at the chat room. I need to see a lot of you say thank you to our last speaker. Thank you, thank you. Hope Dean can see this if he's still on the line. Don't just say thank you. Also type something that you got.
And bless you.
Type something that you got. Thank you, something that you got from him. The light bulb moment for you during his session. Please type it so that you can see that it has been a blessing to us. Good.
I'm very humbled by this, and I thank you. And it's
I need to see your light bulb moment. What did you pick from Dean? I particularly am so fascinated about the love language that he talked about. Love language, because like I said, the value, passion, purpose part was it for me. Thank you. Oluwayemisi, thank you. Deep thinking was profound for me. Thank you. Wale, great insight. Love language, changes. Wow, good. Self-awareness. Good, 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 good. Escalator is gone. Wow. Drive your skill towards your passion. Fantastic. Oh, passion without skills. I need to listen to that, you know. Okay, good. Thank you for bringing the highlighting the reason there's a gap in how we perform. Thank you so much. Wow. Fantastic. You can keep that going on. You can keep that going on. So, Dean, as you can see right now, we were not sleeping when you were talking. You blew our mind. You can see, just go to the chat room that tells you what you've done to us. So we're saying a big thank you on behalf of everybody on this platform and on behalf of Ayo Adeyemi. Thank you for being part of this. So guys, so it's my turn now. Focus on me. Focus on me. Let's leave Dean now. Now let's focus on me now. Let me ask you a question. Are we there?
Yes. Yes,
good.
sir.
Are we there? Okay, good.
Yes,
Fantastic.
we're with
now,
we're with you.
Now the next question is this. The next question is this. What is career success to you? Not what your lecturer told you. Not what seminars said is career. Now, I want you to be very, very selfish. Right now, what is career success to you? Now, go on the chat room. I want to see that. I'm waiting. Guys, I'm waiting. Oh, my first phase of career success is becoming a full manager. So after you have achieved that, what is the second phase? What is the third phase? Career success to me is being fulfilled in the career path I have chosen. What is fulfillment to you? If you see fulfillment, can you recognize it? Career success is when you have impacted life with whatever field you are on while making a great earning. That sounds like a church sermon. Which is okay. Don't get me wrong, it's okay. So, but I want us to be very selfish right now. What is career success to you? Probably someone will say my career success is blah, blah, blah. To become a board member in my organization or to become a part owner of wherever I'm working for, whatever my career path is. My career success is to create more employment for other people. Okay, yeah, I like this. Bolanle saying reaching the peak in my chosen career path and leaving a positive influence on those I meet along the way. Don't worry, leave along the way. Leave all those people. Just focus on yourself now. Leave those people along the way. I know. We all want to make an impact. It's good. Growth in work and life, financial stability. What is financial stability for you? Is there anything called financial stability? Or is it financial growth? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just trying to troubleshoot here. Career success is being an influencer. Okay, good. I have achieved career success when I reach the very height of my career. meet many after my kind, have a balanced family life, loving relationship any more than I could ever imagine, and living my dream. Wow. You know, sometimes living your dream could change based on season, based on what's it called, generation. Now, somebody's probably our parents' dream was to retire peacefully. Now, in our own world right now, it's not just to retire peacefully, and because then their pension could take them on. But now we know our pension will not even pay our rent these days. So you need to be specific when it comes to the life you want to live. I'm saying this because so many times we go into a field and we do not know why we're in that field. We do not know what we want to achieve with our career. Now, thank you for those who have responded, but definitely let me just go on right now. Look, I want us to look at it in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 25 years. How will I know that I've achieved success in my field? How will I know that I've achieved success in my career? Now, in as much as you can say, okay, I want to be fulfilled, I want to impact more lives, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to make more money, I want to be stable and everything, but you must have probably something that you need to use to measure it. And what I mean is that I want to become a part owner in my career. I want to become owner. I want to become a board member. I want to become probably the CEO of the top 500, Fortune 500 in my locality, or Fortune 600 in my locality. And then that's what I want to do. That's what I want to get at. And I want to make sure that I am in the board of Fortune 5,000, Fortune 1,000, anywhere I find myself. Or I want to make sure that I work for the best top 4 in my industry, and not just work for the top 4 in my industry. I want to be a partner in that industry, or I want to be a co-owner in whatever industry that I find myself. Now, be specific. You need to be specific about that, because that's where you can now begin to look at how can I track my growth. Now, once I realize that that's what I want to achieve, then the next question you'll be asking yourself is that, who have achieved this thing that I want to achieve? This goal that I've set for myself, who in this industry have done it? So once you figure out the person who've done it, then what you do is to do probably reverse engineering, and we begin to find out what did they do to get here. Now, sometimes what they did during their own dispensation or generation may be different from what is applicable right now. But you can't rule out the fact that what did they do, because that's a big lesson for you. Now, when COVID happened, COVID-19 happened, most of the interventions, mask and social distancing and everything, came from the Spanish flu recommendations. Most everything, distancing, social distancing, because it happened before in 1918, so they just borrowed some of those things and then implemented. Now, did it work? Did it not work? Did it slow it down? We are still looking at that, but definitely you pick knowledge from the things that people have done, so that you can look at, okay, what did they do? Now, vis-a-vis, you now place it with what is required in this very own dispensation that we are in right now. So you can know, okay, this is the path to follow. Now, remember, my topic is paradigm shift. Paradigm shift. And so I need to get to my slide, and then don't worry, just listen to my voice while my colleague here tried to help me with my slides. But for the meantime, do you want to get to the chat room and let me know we're together? Just say we're together. Just say we're together quickly.
We are together.
Good, 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 good. So how many of us actually have given her your a birthday gift today, or is it yesterday, or sorry, today or tomorrow? Hello? Good. Okay, guys, can you hear my, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Can you see my
Yes,
slide?
sir. Can yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
I can see your
Let's
slide.
talk about
Yeah.
this. Let's talk about it. I'm going to jump some slide and probably come back to it, because I want to make this as
Yes, I can
as
I
quick
can
as
see it.
possible. Good. I'll come back to those other ones if time permits. I want to go to the streets. You know, I know many of the people that will come and speak here will speak from the classroom perspective, but I want to go to the street. I want to go to the street. I want to know, I want you to have the required language for each level that you find yourself, so that you know, how do I hit the top? How do I become a partner in any field that I find myself? How do I become a co-owner? Or at least, bottom line, how do I become a board member and become the top management in my field? Now you can see a pyramid right before us there. And at the base, you have what we call the IQ. When you came into the organization, what we checked out for was your intelligent quotient. How intelligent are you? Do you know the job? Do you understand the processes? Even if you don't understand the process, we took you through the rigors of reorientating you and then equipping you with the necessary knowledge to be able to work very well in the space that you find yourself. Now, for you to be in the middle management, emotional intelligence, emotional resilience, and then I think Dean addressed that so powerfully, and then you need to listen to him again or probably play the recording if Ayo will be magnanimous enough to give us that. And at the top is what we call the cognitive capacity. But this is it, guys. For every of this stage, there is a language. For every of this stage, there is a language. Please, you get to the chat room, write language. For every of the stages, there is a language. Now, for the people who are at the base, what you need to do is to be asking yourself, how do I get things done? Not just that, ask yourself, how do I understand the processes? The processes of getting the product to the market. What do we need to add value to the product? That is what we want to do. We want to hear you. We want to hear from you. That is what the language that is spoken at this level of the IQ. Now, at the mid level, it's all about the people. Who do you know? Who is who in this organization? Who is who in this industry? Who are the stakeholders? Because sometimes we feel that our performance will speak for us, but most of the time, sorry, not most of the time, but some of the times, the performance does not speak at a particular level of the organizational pyramid. It goes beyond just performing. Performance is very good. Turning out good productivity is very good, but sometimes whatever you're doing may not be seen by the top most people, because nobody is mentioning your name in the places that matter. So you need to start asking yourself at the point in time, who are the people? Who is who in this place? Who are the stakeholders in my industry or in my organization? In my industry and my organization. And then at the top there, when we talk about profit, is you're asking your question, how do we make money and how do we intend to survive? How do we make money? How do we intend to survive? Now, if you want to be a co-owner, that's your goal. If you want to be a board member, that's your goal. If you want to be at the top of management, not just middle management, you want to be management level, top management level, board member, executive directors level, then this has to be the way you think. You're not just thinking about how to get things done. You're thinking about how do this industry make money and how do they intend to survive. That is why from my research, I realized that one of the things that people look out for in a CEO or a CEO, most of the time CEO, is their level of understanding about finance. So you want to get to the top in any industry. What we'll be looking at most of the time, you don't have to have a finance background, but we want to be sure that you understand numbers. You must understand numbers, you must think numbers. And then for you to get our attention at the profit side of it, like I said, the cognitive side of it, for you to get our attention, you must be talking in numbers. If you don't talk in numbers, we do not listen to you. If you don't talk in numbers, we do not listen to you. Like I said, there is language for every level. At the top, the language here is the language of numbers. Remember, what we're looking for is how do we make money and how do we intend to survive. Many people who have been a CEO who are promoted to that level are appointed, whether internal recruitment or from the external side of point of view. People will always looking at their understanding of finance, their understanding of numbers, their ability to interpret numbers, the ability to analyze numbers and to implement decisions based on numbers, data, and statistics. So anybody who wants to get to the top from now, whether you're at the process level or the people level, you must start engaging yourself in trainings on data analysis, number analysis, especially when it comes to financial analysis. You don't have to be an accountant, but we want somebody who understands numbers to run the affairs of our organization. Before I get back to the side of profit or numbers, let's talk about people. Who is who? Who is who? Now, in the process of talking about that, I will come back to all those things later, don't worry. Okay, sorry. I think, am I talking too fast?
No.
Hello?
It's just fine.
You're good.
Okay, good. So, sorry, I think the slide is not here. I don't know why it's not here. But all of us, some of us who have done stakeholders analysis, I mean, as a project management person, you must have done, what's it called? Project management. If you have, just say yes. And if you've not, that's one thing that you need to look at. I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't see the chat room here, but whichever way it goes, just probably you just tell me this is what happens when you're not. Yeah, my slide is on, but I can't see your chat.
Many are saying yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Dean. Thank you so much. So, Dean, no, there's a part of project management that talks about stakeholders analysis. So if you understand also, please just say yes, and I will expect Dean or Ayo to let me know how many people are saying yes with the stakeholders management. Now I've come down to the middle management right now, which is emotional intelligence, which is more about the people. Who is who? You remember?
We got a couple saying yes so far.
Okay, thank you so much. So what that means is that who is who in your organization? Who are the stakeholders in your organization? Now, how do I get them to be on my side? Look, guys, I stand to be corrected. I have never seen a larger percentage of the people who became board members just because they were outstanding performers. I stand to be corrected, but I think alongside your performance, there has to be your acknowledgement and your closeness to the stakeholders in your organization. Because there's some things that you do will only be seen at a particular point and they may not be seen at the top. And then once the top do not see what you do, then it's very likely you don't get an opportunity to come to the top. Very likely. Not cast in stone, it's very likely. So what that means is that once you're performing, the next thing you want to do is to figure out who are the stakeholders in your organization or your industry. You know why I'm saying industry? You know why I'm saying industry, not just your organization. I'm saying industry because the people who got to the level of CEO or board member organization for the whole of their life is not comparable to the ones who move around before coming back to becoming CEO. So career shift means that you may have to move from one industry to the other, one organization to the other within your industry or even outside you before you come back or you come to becoming a CEO. So as you're looking at the stakeholders in your organization, you're also looking at stakeholders in the industry. Now, when you look at stakeholders, there are 4 quadrants. You have basically 2 things that you look at for: power and interest. Power and interest. Sorry, the slide is not here. I will have shown you power and interest. So you have 4 people, 4 quadrants majorly to look at. You have people that are not powerful, who are not interested in you. Those are not your stakeholders. Then you have a second category of people who are not powerful, but they are interested in you. Most of them are your downlines right now. In other words, they may not be able to influence your promotion. They may not be able to influence your next level because they have no power to add one or take one away from you. Those people are not powerful, but they are interested in you. Now, if I were you, I will pay more attention to them. I'll pay more attention to them because you never can tell what will happen tomorrow. They could just be more powerful than you can ever think about. They could just be more powerful. So, but the third set of people are people who are powerful but not interested in you. Powerful but not interested in you. How do you increase the interest? Probably that will be a conversation for another day. But your stakeholders are the people who are powerful and very interested in you. So what you do is that you need to put more people in that powerful and interested. Powerful and interested. Now, the more people you have there, the more opportunities that you have. Now, how do you get the interest of people who are powerful but not interested in you? Your productivity. Your productivity, your performance. Very important. How are you producing? What are your performance level? Because you get my attention as a board member if you churn out a whole lot of performance-driven, attention-seeking, performance-seeking attention, if there's any word like that. So, sorry, I'm trying to communicate to somebody as I'm talking to. Please forgive me. I'm trying to multitask. It's a pity they said men are not very good with this. So just forgive me. I have a guest coming from the UK who's supposed to speak at my program. I'm just trying to send him that message to know the hall to come to. So forgive me for that. So your performance must be impeccable. You must be visible in your organization. You must be visible. What do I mean by being visible? You must engage. You must be engaging in all the activities or critical activities in your organization. Now, when you get to the board room, or you get to a board meeting, or you get to a management meeting, you must have studied the agenda before you got in there. You must have studied the agenda, ask for it. What are they discussing about? Then do a research on all probably the items there. Know where the company is at, know where the company wants to go to, and know what the best practices are around the industry based on those items that will be discussed. Now, you may not be too forward raising up your hand to talk about it, but you want to be aware just in case they will ask you, what is your opinion about this? And then at that point in time, you speak. And then when you speak intelligently. Now, that is one of the ways to get the attention of the people who are powerful but not interested in you. Now, I remember, you know Praise for Owe. Praise for Owe, yeah, good. Praise for Owe was with me several years ago We were the meeting that concerns me. It doesn't concern Prince Warrior, but Prince Warrior went with me to that meeting. And after some few discussion, and he made some few contributions, and I introduced him to the people who were at that meeting. He eventually became a columnist, one of the leading newspapers in Nigeria, a columnist, and he was writing a column there every Friday or so in one of the leading newspapers in Nigeria. Why? He came to the meeting, but he was prepared for that meeting. It was not a meeting that concerns him, but he just came into that meeting. He was seeking powerful people that would be interested in him. And then he got one, and he wrote the article for years, the column for years. Now he's one of the biggest, best brain expert that Nigeria ever had outside the country right now. So what am I trying to say? The guys who are not powerful, are not interested in you, are looking at your numbers. Now, when you speak, you must be able to speak in numbers. You must be able to put everything you're going to say in percentages, in pie charts, and trying to drive the numbers, because that is the language they understand. Now, one of my friends' daughter, my secondary school friend, she's living with me right now in Lagos, and then she just finished serving, and then there was an opening where she was serving in a multinational, and then she applied for it, so they scheduled her for an interview. Then on this particular day, she came back home and she was telling me there's somebody that also applied for the same job. She's got the experience, she's got this and that, she's been in that organization for a very long time. And then I just sat down and said, don't worry, let me know what you've done, whatever you've done, the achievement you've done, and everything. She rolled out all those things. She was telling me a story. I said, no. You need to go back and calculate these things in numbers. What is the percentage increase? What is the number of people that were there? How did you increase this? How did you increase performance? Measure it in numbers. Make sure that, because you're going to talk to people who understand what you're doing and they understand the industry, they're going to cross-check and make sure they are very accurate. So that when you get there at the interview, and if they mistakenly tell you to tell them more about yourself, these are the things I want you to talk about. I want you to talk about the numbers. So percentage was what happened before you joined, and then through your contribution, the thing was able to move to so percentage and everything. Guess what? This is a copper who just had less than 9 months experience in that organization, and she was able to floor somebody who's been working in that organization for a very long time. Why? Because she spoke the right language to the people that matter. This is what they want to hear. They don't want to hear stories. So when you get the people who are the stakeholders, remember your stakeholders are people who are powerful and very interested in you. Powerful and very interested in you. What you need to do from there on is to make sure you manage them. You manage them and you make sure that you keep them informed. Now, not just keep them informed, you have to look out for them. Look out for them. Look out for what the things that they are involved in, whether it concerns you, your department, or doesn't concern your department. As long as you know that this thing will help this stakeholder to succeed, make sure you offer your expertise to them and help them, no matter how little those things may be. Offer it, help them to succeed. Because whenever they succeed, they remember you. And then this is what most of the time happens. When those people at the top level, once they even move to another company or other industry, you know what they do? They take you along because you have shown that you are a vital and a valuable resource for them. Anybody who is your stakeholders must be managed effectively. Now, I don't know how you need to tell me. I can't see whatever chat is. You need to chat with me so that I can know my time on my WhatsApp, and on my WhatsApp, so I can know when I'm supposed to stop. And let me just do that, like 5 minutes more, so that we can take some questions and I can move on with this. Language. Why is language very important? And then, you know what? Dean said something about love language. Now, the language you speak is not interesting to me. What is interesting to me is the language that I understand. The language you speak is not my cup of tea. The language that is of interest to me is what I understand. So when you look at that, communication is not the key. Comprehension is the key. Communication is not the key. Comprehension is the key. If you communicate without comprehension, what you've just created is silent chaos. So what you want to ensure is to make sure that wherever you're talking to, they understand and they can comprehend what you're saying, no matter the level that you're in. So for you to now understand, for them to understand and to comprehend what you're saying, then the right language, and then for you to have the right language, then you need to understand what we call frame of reference. Frame of reference. Each person that you're talking to, whether they're at the top, they have a frame of reference. And what is a frame of reference? A frame of reference is the summation of their education, their exposure, their network, definitely demographic analysis, their background. Someone who is an accountant who is on the board would definitely have a bias for numbers. More bias for numbers, in as much as his language is numbers, you have more bias for numbers. So if you know this person is going to be on that panel, then you must make sure that your numbers are very, very impeccable. They're just that you must do that extra work to make sure that this guy will see details. And then I must be able to convince him no matter what. And then for everything, statistics or data you bring to your presentation, you must be sure of his source, the sources, because they will question you. Frame of reference talks about their level of education exposure. And let me add this before I close. Their frame of reference also has their personality also has serious influence on their frame of reference. The frame of reference is their source of interpretation. And you know interpretation is key, not information. Interpretation is key. When your information and your interpretation are in sync, then you have communicated well. That's where comprehension happens. But when the communication and the interpretation the information and the interpretation are diverse, then you've created confusion. So also you need to look at it. These people, where do they fall when it comes to their personality type? Some people who are sanguine, who love stories, remember, they speak in numbers. But because of their psychometric or psychological makeup, they still like stories. So your stories, your numbers must be embedded in some stories and everything like that. But there's some people who just love details. Don't bug me with the stories. So your job, whenever you're going to make any contribution, going to make any presentation so that you can be given an opportunity to be at the top, is for you to figure out and do an analysis of the people who could be listening to you or who could be at the meeting that you attended. So once you have figured those people out, you know where they fall, you know their temperament, you know their personality type, and then you can figure out their frame of reference. Remember, their network, their exposure, their education, where they are coming from. That is also very critical. Now, let me bring it down. I had one of the most interesting career paths when it comes to the speaking industry in Nigeria. I probably am the only speaker in Nigeria that has been signed up by telecoms company in Nigeria, and have been to more tertiary institutions than any other speaker in Nigeria. Or I'm probably the only one of the few that have gone to the breadth and length of Nigeria on the platform of a telecoms company or any organization at all. How did it happen? When I was going to make my first presentation, I had to do a proper research on the managing director at that time. I realized that he's British, so that means he's conservative. He's not American, and probably is not Italian, because we've also got an Italian person later. So it's conservative. So once it's conservative, he will want my points to be together. Not too much stories, get straight to your point and leave the scene, if possible. I can't afford to put too much of jokes, and I can't afford to put too much of funfair into it. So I tailored my presentation in as much as it makes sense to make sure that this guy can buy into it, which eventually happened. He bought into it and he signed me up. And then when I'm dealing with an American, it's a different ballgame entirely. Then I can come probably, I mean, everything has to be said. I need to come up with numbers. Then I need to be more relaxed and more sociable and probably crack more jokes and everything and get into his interpretation, more or less. What am I trying to say here? I considered the frame of reference of my client before making any presentation. I have to speak the language that they understand, not the language that I'm perfect at speaking. So that created comprehension. So anybody who wants to hit the top at their career must understand the power of comprehension, not the power of communication only. And then for you to understand the power of comprehension, you must understand language. Each top or each level has their own language. Pity that I can't show you all the slides, but I'll let Ayo have it. And then hitting the top of one career, I just have to do this snappy, and then I can send him all these things. They're explicit. You can go through it and you can understand it. And then I will rest my case at this point. Thank you. And then let me ask for help so that I can get out of this point that I am right now. And then people can come and help me. But I can hear you guys. If you can take over from here, I'm still here for some few minutes and I can take some.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Is the moderator around? Okay, so let me just say this. That has been a fantastic session. We appreciate you. And I learned a lot as usual. It's become a turning for me. Each time I listen to you, I learn a lot and I take a lot from that. And I'm sure as many people that are here, they'll be able to pick some point. But you can drop in the chat room what you've learned from this session. And let me say this. I know we couldn't take a whole lot of those. So we're going to do this again. In fact, while you are speaking, I hope Dean is still here. I think we're probably going to drag you to Canada for a Canada special edition sometime soon. All right. So I don't know, but I know that Kaya Summit 7.0 already is going to be loud, and it's going to be physical anyway, and it's going to be loud. I can tell you that. Dean and Nia Adesanya, you have no choice, Dr. Nia Adesanya. You are coming 7.0. You have no choice. We will drag you. Thank you so much. You know, it's been a long time journey. I don't know if it's 30 years, it's 20 years, but I've known you since the days of John the Baptist. And you have been a tremendous support and impact. And I'm praying for the grace so that I can be hired by, as one of the corporate speakers around the world. But can we give it up to Dr. Nia Adesanya? He doesn't want to use the doctor. Don't mind him. He's a doctor too. We know it. I think it's double now or something. So let's give it up to him. Thank you so much for your support. And we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So
can I run to my next event?
Yes. We have questions, but you will join us after the syndicate session once you are free.
Okay, just send me a message on my WhatsApp. I will know whether you guys are still on.
Fantastic.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Dean, looking forward to seeing you very soon. God bless you, sir.
My friend. Likewise. It was brilliant. I loved it. I learned a lot. And thank you for taking it.
Thank you, Pastor Nee.
Go kick some butt in the next one you're going to do now, man. Go for it.
Yeah, go make some money.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. So we're going to quickly move into the next item, which is a syndicate session. And I know we are running against time, but please pardon us. We still have in the house Lady Abba, the Adejisola Atiba. She's also going to speak from Canada, and she's going to join us. We have Omozua Isireme. She's going to be speaking for us from Luxembourg. So when we come back after the syndicate session, we're going to have this load of session. But for the syndicate session, we have Dr. Esther Samamoye. We have Are Victor Adebayo. And we have Engineer Bola Adebada. He'll be speaking from United Kingdom too. So these three fantastic speakers are going to take charge in this few minutes. So for those in syndicate session for Are Victor Adebayo, that is syndicate session 1. You can remain on this platform. But for those of us for Engineer Adebola Bada, syndicate session 2, if you check the chat room, you will see the link. Just click on the link and it will take you to your session immediately. And then for those for Dr. Esther Amoye, syndicate session 3, you see the link in the chat room too. Please click on it and move it to your session right away. We're going to do that for the next 40 minutes, and then we will come back and take on the plenary, the joint session together. And I tell you, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss. Please maximize this opportunity. Please maximize this opportunity. So we can move right away now. Thank you so much. We'll just give you some 1 or 2 minutes to take your move to the next session, and then we can kick off. I know we have Are Victor already in the house, and I know he's ready to say. Engineer Bada Adebola, thank you too. The moderator for each of those sessions are already waiting for you in the chat room. I mean, the group in your room, and then they will also take your profile there. But we will drop all the link to their LinkedIn in the chat room. So these are people you want to follow. These are people that have values. These are people that have also advanced in their own career, and they can tell you what it is and what you need to know. And they are global player. So I need you to learn and take a lot from them. Thank you so much. So I'll give the floor to the moderator for this platform and other platform. Dr. Terry Omodibo. Yeah, I know you're a doctor. I think we don't know. Don't hide your face. So you take charge, please.
Dr. Terry, we're waiting on you.
Good afternoon. My name is Grace, and I will be the one moderating for Group 1 for the group 1. That's for Are. But I'll just want us to hold on a bit so that people for other groups can move to their groups before we start. So thank you very much, sir. I can see you're online, and we look forward to learning from you. You're muted, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Yes, so we just want those for the other sessions to move out first, and then we can start. So maybe we should give 2 more minutes. At exactly 3:15, we'll start. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
So good afternoon. How do we know the group to key into?
Okay, that's depends on your interest. So please check the chat room and make your interest. So whichever one interests you, Then this is for the one about being a C-suite person. There's one for engineering, there's another one for consultancy. Please check that, and then you click, and then that takes you to your session. But if you are interested in something about getting your career to C-suite, then you can be here in this room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're starting now, and I want to welcome everyone to this session. It promises to be a very good time for us. It promises to be a very good time for us. Guess I have to use 2 devices just to be sure that I'm on top of my game, and in case system decides to act wonderfully. So this session is going to be taken by our speaker, Are Victor Adebayo. And it's a syndicate session on career paradigm shifts, sectoral opportunity, advancing your career to C-level or C-suite. I'm very interested in this. Even though I'm a member of the management team in my organization, I want to learn so much more. And I know a lot of us here who want to learn. So I'll quickly take the citation of our speaker, and then we can have him speak. So our speaker today has about 2 decades of corporate life experience, spanning human resources management, quality, health and safety, strategy and business intelligence, sales, distribution and manufacturing operations, administration and facilities management, business development and education consulting. He has held executive roles in blue chip organizations, such as being vice president at FBN Kirst Merchant Bank, Group HR Director, Africa at Chainride Group, Director at Airtel Networks Limited, and Chief Operations Officer at CIG Group Africa. He used to sit on the board of Seamless HR, an HR technology firm. He currently sits on the board of Diversity Talent Management Limited, Mega Life Health Limited, Appian Way Schools and Area Estates, and Property Development Company Limited. He's also an alumnus of organizations such as GE Oil and Gas, Procter & Gamble West Africa, Zenith Bank PLC, and DTL Technology and Education Consulting Limited. He also served briefly at the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. He attended executive learning sessions at Harvard Law School, participating in the leadership and negotiation program, and attended the London School of Economics and Political Science, graduating with an A+ distinction at the Strategic Decision-Making Program. He obtained his bachelor's and master's degree from Obafemi Awolowo University. He holds 2 global HR practice certifications, the GPHR and Shrimp SCP, and 1 Nigerian HR certification, MCIPM, from the prestigious Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM. He's a certified management consultant and a fellow Institute of Management Consultants. He's a conference speaker and an active participant in learning, leadership, and strategy sessions. He is married with 3 lovely angels, and he pastors his local assemblies group of youth churches. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of welcoming Are Victor Fumbi Adebayo for his session. Can we just put our hands together, put the emojis, let's welcome him, let's show him love. I'm reading your profile, and honestly, I want to be like you when I grow up. Seriously, I really want to be like you. So maybe I should apply to the, you be my mentor. But can we just welcome Are himself? You're welcome, sir. The floor
Thank you
yours.
very much. Thank you very much. And it's a great pleasure being here again. I'm always fascinated by opportunities to learn and also to share It's a wonderful opportunity to also be a part of Dr. Ayo's birthday event. I would call them his annual birthday colloquium. And I think it's one that is really, really empowering and highly encouraged. I want to thank you also for the privilege to share in this platform, to be able to share with every one of us. When Dr. Ayo reached out to me at first, I had to think deeply about what he wanted me to talk about. We had a prior conversation some time ago when I was newly appointed as the Chief Operations Officer for the African business of the CIG Group. And he wanted to know a whole lot of things. And he said, look, so many people don't understand these things, and it's important that we put these things out there as much as possible. I can be a very private person, but then, I mean, it is what it is. We have to share whenever the opportunity comes. So let's go right into it, and we can talk about everything here. I believe we can all see my screen, just to be sure. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Great. So I have just tried to reduce the topic to say, okay, what we all want to know is, how do I advance my career to the C level? You know, what takes me into that C-suite level? And when you're talking C-suite, it's simply talking about job roles that usually come with the word chief, you know, as the prefix. So chief, whatever it may be, chief information officer, chief executive officer, chief operations officer, chief HR officer, and so many other chiefs. Many people started their careers and they are wondering, I mean, I'm already here, it's almost 20 years. And how do I get to this next level? It looks as if time is passing by and I'm not able to realize my goal. I will share a lot of these insights as we get talking. This is basically what I'm going to be talking about. A little introduction, working towards the C-level roles. What are some of the essential skills for C-suite executives? How do you prepare and what opportunities do you take? And then I'm going to share a final takeaway for every one of us. And if we still have the time, we can take some questions. I know I have exactly 40 minutes, but I'm going to do my presentation in about maybe 30 minutes thereabout, so that we can have some 10 minutes to be able to answer questions particular to this area. Now, by way of introduction, when we say C-suites, what does it mean? It's simply referring to a team of top executives that has got extensive experience in the field of study. And they also possess very strong leadership and management acumen. There's a difference between management and leadership. Management has to do with how do you optimize resources to be able to achieve your objective. And leadership is creating inspiration and reasons for people to believe and how to be able to craft a future that they can all be a part of. So how can they become a part of the future with you? That is your leadership. The management is, how do I optimize the rest of the resources around me here to be able to achieve organization goals and objectives. And so for you to operate at the C level, it requires a great deal of experience, proven impact, and a specific set of skills. And I've seen quite a number of people who say, I have 18 years work experience. And the question I always ask is this: 18 years doing what? If you're doing the same thing for 18 years, you've only spent 18 years doing one thing. It's not 18 years work experience in that light. Within 18 years, it is expected that you have moved within various strata within the organization, and movement within the organization is not only vertical, it can also be horizontal. And I will share some of my life story about, you know, what I did and how certain things that I did earlier in my career have been able to, you know, make me ready for some of the opportunities that eventually came. And when I was doing some of those things, I didn't have all the clarity of, you know, picture of how they would all be put together for the future. Everything was just all about me taking advantage of every opportunity that is presented before me. So with the introductions done, let's walk towards C roles and what are some of the practical steps that you need to take to be able to get to that level. Number one, I like putting things in bullet points. So we go boom, 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 and we go all through it. First, gain industry and management experience. What does this mean? Not every company hires for their C-suites from within, but in many cases, high-level managers can compete for C-level management roles. I've had the privilege of working across multiple industries. And I told someone, and I think it was Dr. Ayo too, who asked on another platform, this multi-industry, multi-sectorial experience, why? When I was starting off my career, I wanted to end up as a consultant to many organizations and businesses. And I was motivated by a guy who came from PwC many, many, many years ago, who came to my university for a presentation. And so while sharing his experience, multi-sectorial experience and all of that, I set a vision in my heart that, you know what? I want to work across multiple industries so that when I'm consulting for businesses, I can also speak the language of the industry that they are in, and I can also tell them that I have been there from the point of view of implementation. So it's not just sharing ideas with you, but the execution of those ideas, I have also experienced it. And that kind of worked for me. Now, to follow this path of becoming a high-level manager, you need to work very, very hard to be able to get the necessary recognition, which will fetch you promotion. And you've got to be able to hone some of your industry skills to top notch such that organizations see you as a solution provider. And I will share one very simple experience with you. I used to work for Chanrai Group as the Group HR Director for the African operations. And at a point in time, one of our largest business division, which was the distribution division, we had sales guys. There were close to 1,000 of them. Their cars were already getting old. And there was the need for the organization to replace those cars. And the group CEO had some conversations with me. We were fixing cars to the tune of 20 million every month, repairing various cars. I mean, we had over 1,000 salespeople, and at a particular level, they get cars. So from the area sales manager all the way up to the national sales managers, they all get cars and different types of cars. For those below them, they do not get cars. So we needed to change a large number of cars. These cars had run into about 7, 8, 9 years. They ought to have been changed after 5 years, but some people let the slack. So my boss called me and said, Victor, we need to do something about this. If we were going to change all the cars for these people, we were going to be spending close to ₦1 billion. So he cannot tie down that much liquidity into buying cars. So it was important that we found an alternative solution. It's not something you just pick up in the book. So I asked myself a question. Can we lease vehicles? Pretty straightforward, right? Go lease vehicles if you're not able to buy them. So I invited 2 giants within the car leasing business, and they came over. So when they gave me their proposal, I invited them to make a presentation. They made their presentation, and then when I looked at the amount we're going to be paying every month, I mean, in 9 months, we would have bought the cars that we ought to have bought. So I was like, this isn't making sense. So I asked them, how did you come about these numbers? And I decided, let's peel the onions. And so they said, you know what? It's not like we have those cars on ground. And it's not like we have the finances. We would approach a bank off the back of your contract with us. The bank provides us with the money. We pay it to the car companies. The car companies deliver the vehicle. And then the principal, the cost, plus the interest portion, then plus our own cost of operations, then plus the payment of salaries for every person that is going to be involved in the management of all of these cars. Then we're going to put up our 20% profitability margin on top of it. So when I understood those multiple layers of funds, I'm like, isn't there a way I can reduce this? And so one night I sat down in my room and I said, some of my salespeople have their personal cars that they use. How about, rather than leasing these cars from the car companies, I talked to these salespeople to say, let me lease your cars directly. There was no bank loan involved. There was no, profitability, and there was no interest portion to the bank that they were going to be adding, and then a couple of other factors. So I came up with something. I asked the bank, if I was going to lease if I was going to buy a brand new car, maybe some of your, car financing, what is the interest rate? They gave me the interest rate. We did a 5-year proration, and then I divided the interest and the profit, the interest and the loan, pardon me, and then I divided it over 60 months, which is to run for 5 years. And it came to a figure close to about 80-something thousand. Then I discounted it by the fact that these cars were also going to be used by these people for personal purposes. So they were going to pay for that. Then I added on top of it that, okay, they were going to register the cars. They were going to put insurance on it by themselves. So I also added some money into it. That's telling you the detail, the level of detail that I went through in coming up with a proposal. So I came up with a proposal for the regional sales manager and above. Based on my analysis, I came to a cost of 125,000 naira a month. And for the area sales manager that was lower, I came to a cost of 75,000 naira a month. And then I thought to myself, some of these guys don't use brand new cars. They will buy Tokunbo cars. And for those of them who already have existing vehicles, they were as good as Tokunbo. So I cannot use the pricing methodology for a brand new car for hiring or for leasing the Tokunbo car. The price is going to be different. So I looked at the variance analysis between the price of a brand new and Tokunbo car. It came to about a 40% discounting. So I discounted that value also by 40%. So for the area sales manager, that dropped to 45,000 naira. And I was able to pick that 45,000 naira. I presented it to the executive committee, and everybody was just like, oh my God, Mr. Fix-It has done again. Approved, approved, approved. Let's hit the road with this. And then I called a town hall session with the sales guys, and I told them, I want to lease all of your vehicles, and you're going to use those vehicles to run all of our sales calls. But guess what? I'm going to be providing you with fueling, but I'm also going to be paying you for using your cars. They were all like, bring it on, Victor, bring it on. And I shared it with them all. I can tell you today, it's been almost 8 years after. That is what they are still on. The company has completely jettisoned the idea of buying new cars, and they would rather lease the existing vehicles of these guys. How did I get all of that? A lot of critical thinking from understanding various industries and then coming up with concepts that can help me to be able to solve problems. So, in addition to developing management and leadership skills, take time to develop your own vision for corporate success. Seek out opportunities to ally to your thought leadership and share some of these things. I did go ahead to share some of these ideas with various other organizations, and organizations like Flamis of Nigeria and a couple of others reached out to be able to find out how I was able to solve that problem. Go check the prices of cars today, and I'm sure you will really, really be shocked. And I think this is a worthwhile idea. And if you are stealing that idea, let me know so I can send you my invoice later on. Thank you very much. Number 2, take the lead during company changes. Now, mergers and acquisition present you with opportunities to be able to showcase your dexterity as an employee. You will be involved in terrains that you have never been to before. Organization transformation exercises within organizations too bring out leadership, people ability, and core technical competency from people. And above them all, it showcases how this person can work within a team and steer them towards achieving set goals and targets. And so if you really want to take your performance to the next level and present or showcase yourself as C-suite ready, these are opportunities for you to be able to showcase what you've got to the world. I see so many people always coming off the back of, I am not very well paid. Why am I going to be taking up all of these responsibilities? Guess what? The stories of how you have been able to deliver on that assignment is what you will tell to your next employer. So if you are not doing all of these things for the sake of the income that you are earning now, do those things for the sake of the potential income that you will earn in the future, because we will all hire you off the back of what you have done. The best predictor for future performance is previous performance. And if previous performance is screwed up, pardon my French language, there's really no way anybody's going to be taking a chance on you for future performance. So do it for your own sake. Take the lead during those company changes, and you will thank yourself later on. Number 3, offer consultative help. Corporate consultants have the ability to gain experience at a wide range of companies within a single industry, and sometimes outside of that industry. Now, that grants them visibility to these various industries, and then C-suite opportunities come readily. But guess what? If you want to take this route, you can carefully seek out some of the biggest names in those industries and leverage network and connections to be able to get the needed exposure. But what does that do for those of you who work in the real sector? Those of you who work in, not the consulting sector, but the real, whether manufacturing or also a service sector. Now, depending on the types of employment contracts that we all sign on, and many of the organizations I've worked in, I always do the full disclosure that I also partly consult for a number of organizations, and I call it commercializing your knowledge. When you have a knack for problem solving, you can't just keep it to yourself alone. I love to listen to industry problems, and that was why when I was writing my CV many years ago, I will still not forget my objective: to become a professional troubleshooter, fully equipped for a resourceful relevance where placed. I mean, I'm talking about over 20 years ago, and I can still remember. If I ask some of us now, what was the objective on even on your current CV? Many people don't know, because we just copy what we see from other people and then we paste it on our CV. You've got to be intentional about what you want to do. When Dean was speaking earlier on today and he was talking about building your career, he said, find something you're passionate about. Find something you enjoy. But of course, passion alone does not translate into financial freedom. You also have to find a way to convert your passion into commercial purposes that can help you to be able to take care of yourself and fund your personal dreams later on in life. So, like I was saying, depending on the terms of your engagement, you can find ways whereby you can partner on a side gig with some of other consultants to be able to showcase some of the skills that you have to other markets. And like I minuted here, this also allows you to market yourself to potential new employers that would see you as being instrumental to the change in the organization. At a point in time, some of them will tell you, do you know what? Why not come on board and bring about these changes? And guess what? That was how I got into the Chanrai Group. I was actually consulted by the former managing director of L'Oreal to say, we've got this very big conglomerate, they're into manufacturing, distribution, very big, but they operate like a shop. They need someone to be able to help them steer the ship, create processes and systems. And then he asked me if I was going to be interested in taking that on. And I'm like, that's why I'm in business. And immediately he set me up to meet with the company chairman. And when I met the company chairman, he said, Victor, you can't do all of these from outside of the organization. I need you to come into the organization and fix these issues for me. And he asked me, what are your terms? And lo and behold, I gave him my terms. And he told me, deal. And that was it. We immediately kick-started work. I had to go to the UK then. I told him I couldn't resume when he wanted me to. I went to the UK, came back, and then we kick-started what we needed to do. So it's important for you to be able to ensure that you gain the much-needed visibility. And offering consultative help grants you visibility within your organization. And if you partner with people externally, it also grants you visibility outside of your organization. Number 4, learn about becoming a board member. How does this help you? You see, it gives you the unique opportunity of managing stakeholders. The gentle pastor who spoke and gave an opening speech said something about, this leadership, about setting off, about being board members and some of these things. Why is it very important? He talked about managing these stakeholders. Why is it very important? At C-level, your stakeholders vary. You've got government and regulator stakeholders to deal with. If you worked in a bank and CBN says they want to meet your bank, who is going to go? Your executives, of course, the C-level. They are not going to ask you at the lower rung, even if you are a senior manager, they are not going to ask you to go talk to CBN. They will go and face CBN. But guess what? Sitting on the board of organizations, no matter how small, gives you the opportunity of gaining the needed exposure to some of these critical stakeholders. And that helps you to be able to understand the mindset of who a C-level executive may be. Many of these opportunities also come up from the booming, startup economy that we are having in Nigeria, whether within the tech industry, and you can see that the tech industry is getting virtually into everything. Many of the new HMOs are leveraging technology to be able to provide their services. And then insurance company is almost completely taken over by tech founders nowadays. And you find the traditional insurance companies playing catch up with the new guys who are leveraging on the capabilities of technology to be able to deliver. And people are coming up with strategic partnership rather than competition right now in the market space. And a whole lot of synergy is coming up, whether by investment or by appointment. You could take up opportunities in some of these organizations, and they give you a peep view into understanding the requirements of operating at a C-level in bigger organizations, because it's virtually the same experience that you're definitely going to be getting. So beside the long-term financial benefits of working or partnering with startups, it also gives you the mindset of founders and investors who are part of your critical stakeholders. Number 5. I hope I'm not too slow.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, you're just perfect.
Thank you. I just wanted to catch up with our time so that, I can dish it all out, and then we can have the opportunity to ask questions. Start out as an entrepreneur. Many people think, how does this happen? I do not have the capital. And you undermine what you're currently doing. I was at a university and I was speaking to them, Obafemi Awolowo University in particular. I used to go about universities. I had a list of universities I visited every year. And I spoke to them about preparing their resume. And I shared with them that many of you have work experiences, because somebody asked a question. He said, when we are applying for jobs as fresh graduates, they are always looking for experienced people. I'm a fresh graduate. I've got no experience. Is it not by giving me a job that I can gain the experience? Where do they expect us to get the experience? And that's why we're not getting the jobs. And I said, no, you have the experience, but you are not actually acknowledging that experience. And he said, how? And I said, there are mixed blessings in the academic calendar. I mean, back in the day when we were in the university, we experienced a lot of strike. I mean, my 4-year program, in fact, my 3.5-year program became a 6-year program. I never failed one course, courtesy of ASU strike. There was a time we were on strike for 11 months straight. That's almost 1 year, 11 months straight. So, but anyway, we are what we are today, and we thank God for the opportunity. Now, during that period, what was I doing? Just like every typical Nigerian, you're back at home. Some people may make it a time to be watching home movies. Back then, we didn't have the distraction of social media, not too many computer games were available also. So it was, the CD players, the disc, the VHS, and all of those things. I mean, don't make me sound so old school, but that was what we had then. But some of you were in your mom's shop. Your mom she sells stuff in her shop. And then, you order for bread, she sells all kinds of things, and people come to the shop, you attend to them. Some of you are studying accounting in the university. Can you look into her books and help her prepare a proper balance sheet such that she can actually think and understand how to record things? That is an experience for you. Helping her to be able to set up her balance sheet, create a P&L, and helping her understand the fact that, look, that you bought this thing at 10 Naira or whatever currency it may be, and selling it at 15 Naira does not mean you've made a profit of 5 Naira. You need to think about electricity costs. The fact that the shop is right in front of our house and the electricity bills comes along with the electricity bills that the house pays does not mean, that is your profitability. So electricity costs, local government bills, the opportunity cost of renting that shop, because if you had rented the shop to somebody else, some income would have come in. So that income, you need to factor the cost of that income into your sheet, paying your mom her own salary herself, paying you as a help within that place, and then coming up with a profit. So, and then the cost of transportation into the market, cost of supply chain to getting whatever she was selling. You need to help her understand all of these things. And then, she factors it into her costing to be able to determine the appropriate amount that she ought to sell whatever wares she's selling in her shop. And having done that, you then move on to the supply chain side of things. You know that when you place orders at the bakeries, it takes 48 hours before they deliver your order. Now, if you sell 2 loaves of bread per day, and you currently have a dozen loaves, when should you place your next order? 2 loaves per day, you've got a dozen left, and they deliver in 48 hours. 48 hours means 2 days. And that simply means stay 2 days away from when you will sell the last loaf of bread. That takes you to day 4. That simply means by day 4, you are placing your order so that on day 6, when they are delivering the order, you are already selling the last loaf of bread. Why are you not placing the order on day 3? Because when you place it on day 3, it will come on day 5. And on day 5, you still have 2 of the old loaves left. And that may mean that when customers come, they want to buy the new one, jettisoning the old one. And that will be meaning you'll be writing off some, spoiled product. And bear me in mind, I'm just using this timeline. Bread may not have to stay for 6 days. I'm just using that as an example. So that means you are ordering too early because people will want the fresher one. And if you order on day 5, there will be a day in between when people will come to the shop and you have no bread to sell. And guess what happens? They then have the opportunity of going to the next shop, and consumer behavior may mean they may never come back because it will register on the back of their mind that you don't have what they are looking for. They will always go to the next shop. So you don't want that to happen. What have you done? Supply chain management, for crying out loud. If your mother's name is Bukola, just call her shop Boomsey's Confectionaries. And what is your role? You are either the accountant and supply chain solutions manager, because you helped her to be able to develop a balance sheet, and you've also helped her to be able to fix a supply chain solution. Put that on your CV and put it as part of your summer job experience so that when they are checking you out, then they know you have got some experience. Because guess what? We are looking for people who can think. Dean mentioned some of those things. Critical thinking skills. That is what we want to hire for. It's not just that you have a first class or a half class. We want to hire people who can solve real life problems. People who understand issues. So, starting off as an entrepreneur, many of you work in organizations, but you've got a catering gig that you run. Some of you are also event managers. Put some structure there. Listen to customers tell their story. Engage people to partner with you to deliver on a particular gig. The frustration you have to deal with managing those people, it gives you a first-hand experience of what it means to be a chief executive officer or to sit in a C-level suit. So all of these experiences prepare you mentally. So you are no longer operating at the level of people who are just coming to work, pay me a salary, and off I go. That mindset never makes it to C-level. Never, ever will it get you into C-level. Number 6, find a mentor. Find a mentor. See, your pathway or the timeline to getting to C-suite will be longer without a mentor. In fact, sometimes you may never make it there. Mentors help you to gain insights to grow in your career. The experience they share with you, you will never get in any formal classroom because they will share with you all the intrigues, all the egos, all the problem solving that goes on in the boardroom and at C-suite level. They can also help you to determine which C-suite role fits you or not. I started my career in human resources, for instance. And as the the HR director for the African operations at Chanrai Group, I wanted to understand what my employees go through. So I go to the manufacturing floor and I try to understand their processes. And trying to find a link between all of them made me then begin to say, okay, we need to have what we call manufacturing operations meeting. For the salespeople, I thought of sales operation meeting, meaning various stakeholders around manufacturing and sales needed to sit together and iron out things. Little did I know that I was preparing myself to become a chief operations officer. And that helped me to be able to get there. Last but not least here is finding a sponsor. What is the difference between a sponsor and a mentor? A sponsor is someone who is willing to hold your hand and take you up, open the doors for you, who is going to speak on your behalf where you are not. Because of my time, let me run quickly through the next portion of my presentation into what are the critical competencies that you need to becoming a C-suite executive. Number one, leadership skills. Dean has done a good job here. Leadership is about your ability to be able to envision in the future and then reverse engineering to understand what you need to do to be able to get into that future. Is he a problem to avoid? Is he an opportunity to tap into? That is the work of C-suite executive. They look at the future of the organization and they visualize the future they want. And just like one of the management gurus says, the best way to guarantee your future is to create it. So, leadership skills. Number two, management experience. I've talked about that. How do you build, manage resources to be able to achieve your goal? Number three, decision-making skills. You may always have to be the yellow fish here, whereby everybody is going one way, but you go the other way because of something that you see. My idea about leasing vehicles were not popular among sales organizations. Today, very many of them are doing this thing. So you've got to take those decisions. Communication skills. You know, the gentleman who spoke earlier also talked about communication is not complete without comprehension. And what do we say here? Communication is about presenting information in the best understood format by your target audience, such that it elicits the right kind of behavior, because when you communicate, it is with an intent. Is that intent achieved? And how best do you bring out that information to others? So don't just say, it's my style. How do you connect your style with other people? So you've got to mirror the people that you're going to be talking to. Risk management skills. Why do you think C-suite executives are very well paid? Because they take a lot of risk. It's not because we drink tea and coffee in the office. We are always gambling around decision. In the older days, it was about finding the right information to take a decision. Nowadays, you have too many information you have to sift through to be able to take the right decision. And guess what? We live in an internet age whereby if you are slow, like they say in that management mantra, everyone for himself, God for us all. Whoever is slow, may the devil catch him. You don't want the devil to catch up with your business. You don't want the devil to catch up with your enterprise. You've got to take risk. I just watched the video of how Kodak faded away when an employee spoke to them about digital photography. They ignored him. The guy sold his idea to Sony. Kodak died and Sony moved into the digital world. Risk management. Time management and work-life balance. You can't be a proper leader if everything you do is about burnout. You've got to learn to balance it all. You've got to learn to be able to be a worthy example to how others can live a wholesome life and then they can have their dreams being fulfilled. Now, last but not the least here is also visionary ideas. I already mentioned that when I was talking about leadership. You've got to be a strategic thinker for you to be able to sit in C-suite. Final takeaway, and I'm going to share my personal story and then we'll wrap it up at this juncture. Like I told you, I started off just like every other guy. I got into banking and I said, this is not what I want to do. I want to do something that gives me opportunity to become a problem solver, not just paying cash and collecting cash. I wanted to do a lot more. And so I started applying. Procter & Gamble made me an offer. And then, I mean, banks were paying a whole lot. And I felt like, you know what? I'm ready to take a pay cut just so I can learn. And then I know in the future, I can earn more. Because we all start off from what? Doing more than we are paid for until the time when we are paid more than what we do. So, lo and behold, I gave it a try. And fortunately for me, Procter & Gamble actually paid more. But then in P&G, when they're asking for volunteers for anything, even if it is not related to me. I mean, there was a time they were looking for information security champion. I was in human resources. What has IT got to do with it? I put up my hand. I got the privilege of being trained by someone who belongs to the secret police of the South African force. And then he trained me about criminal mindset and how to think like a criminal within the office environment so that you can counter every criminal move. It changed my orientation, my worldview. When I became COO, IT was reporting into me. I had already learned all of those things. From volunteering at every point in time, working across various departments. When I'm sharing sales insights with people, they always marvel. They always wonder that, oh my God, how did you know so much about sales? I used to tell them the story of how do you craft your own convincing story to a potential buyer, such that it is not just about pricing differential, but you can bring in various other variables to helping them to buy from you. What is your unique selling proposition? And people were like, how did an HR guy know what they call unique selling proposition? It was from volunteering. It was from taking interest in what everybody was doing. At Chanrai too, I spoke to one of my friends who happened to be the country manager for one of the FMCG company. And I told him we could do distribution for you. And do you know we do contract manufacturing? He got interested in the story. I set up a conversation between himself and the chairman. This was the job of the business development guys. That wasn't my call, but I saw that opportunity. I leveraged the relationship. The rest is history today. That got me into the world of business development. So I was inadvertently preparing myself for the C-level suit. It wasn't just about doing my job. It's about how do we steer this company on the path of profitability. My motivating factor is if this country remains, if this company remains alive, my children can also work in that company. And lo and behold, I gave it my all. Little did I know I was working my way to becoming C-suite. And here I am today. I sit on the board of various organizations. We take strategic decisions. We do a whole lot of things to be able to help the business move on. My wife is a medical doctor. She got into the radiology space. I started talking to her about, you know what, we could set up a diagnostic station where we can ultimately help lives. And ultimately, we got into talking about cancer story. When my father was diagnosed with cancer, unfortunately, he had an 11-year battle with cancer. He passed away 3 weeks ago. I'm going to be burying him in about a week and a half from now. But that got me interested into the whole cancer story. I know how long we fought hard, queuing on the queue for hours, trying to get a radiotherapy. And I asked my wife, can't we get involved in this space and making sure that no other person has to lose their loved one like this because they are struggling to get care? Every experience helps me to be able to change my orientation and helps me to begin to think about what can we do to be able to deliver value here. I am not thinking about, I'm going to make $1 billion. I am thinking about the fact that how do I bring solution to
the table
who are going through some problems? And at
are
the
they
end
on fire?
Of the day, we'll be able to deliver. So that is what C-suite guys think about. So on that note, let me cut it short. I know my time is up.
On fire.
That's my final take.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank
Oh my
you.
God.
Thank you, That was really big.
Oh my
I'm really
God.
privileged to be here. And thank you, Are, for
and
sharing.
then you are coming back. You know that all our
Terry.
speakers for this year, they are coming back. We are doing
Yes,
7
before I hand over to
together.
Terry, I just want to quickly do a recap. So I was writing, I have my notes here. The things that actually jumped at me is commercialize your skill. And you talked about your banking experience. Say, learn about becoming a board member. And Ayo, I want to say this. I think we should have a session where we'll be talking to professionals on how to be C-suite, and we'll have enough time. I found out that this time is just too short for Are to deliver. I think we have to do something bigger, but thank you so much, Are. That was brilliant. God bless you. So I'm going to use my mic now and go back to Dr.
You are
Ayo.
very right, Grace. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that. In fact, what I think we're going to do, because all our speakers for this year are really, really on fire. Maybe because it's the 50th birthday for me, and they come with the fire for the 50th birthday, so that I can. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a specialized session with each of them. We will get their time and convenience. So we're going to focus on those category of people. And please, you're going to, have to bear with us. The time is not enough. Everybody was not enough, and we have to do this again. Thank you so much. Let me say this. I've been on the tail of Are for how many years? I've been trying to get him for 50th edition, 6th edition, but this, for the 4th edition, but for this 6th edition, is really on fire, and I know there's so much bottled up there, and we cross paths in the place of work, and I've known him, and I know he had a lot of stuff, and he still has so much to but we still have a lot of people in the cooler. We see here a lot of people in the class. So the question and answer session, we're going to drop their LinkedIn, and then we're going to make access so that you can follow up on them and have more questions for them if you have to. But when we get to because again today, like I said, it's a tripartite activity for us, and so we need to close the summit so that we can get back to the next session, which is the book launch, and a bit of the part of the birthday, but the book launch. So please bear with us. We're trying to see how we can achieve everything and let everybody, be able to have the remaining part of the weekend to enjoy themselves. But we want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of our speakers so far. And the moderators, you are doing fantastic human job. Chief moderator, I hope you are ready. We have the remaining speakers ready and set. We have Lady Abba, and we have Omanzua from Luxembourg. We have Lady Abba from Canada, and they are set. But let me say again, thank you to Engineer Bollard Bada from United Kingdom. Thank you, Are, and thank you, Dr. Amoye. Everybody here, I can see fantastic people, as part of the participant. If we open the floor, there are questions that are going to be a serious engagement. But we're coming to that. We're going to come to that. So we just want to manage the time and see how far we can go with the session. So Terry, are you online? If you are here, let's have you so that we can take in we can take in Lady Abba. Who's going to take Lady Abba on? Which of the moderators? Let me know that. I'm not too sure. Okay, Dr. Esther, in few seconds, you want to say something?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I have a 4 o'clock that I have to step into. Do you mind if I step out?
Yeah, you can join us back. Yeah, once we start the session, the next session. Thank you. Yeah, that's
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So Terry, are you on? I don't know who is responsible for that. Terry?
Okay, Dr. Ayo, I think moderator is ready. I guess our moderator is taking it.
Okay, good.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening once again, everyone. Welcome to the 6th edition of the Career Summit. Our next speaker for today is going to be taking us on global career opportunities, and shortly I'll be introducing her to everyone on the platform. She is a coach, a mentor, a TEDx speaker, a financial planner, a community leader, a lifelong learner with a number of degrees and professional certificates to her name, which I can't mention because of our time. She is the founder of the Council of the Nigerian Professionals and African Caribbean Council of Hilton, and the co-founder of the Black Empowerment Council of Canada. She has also worked with the Royal Bank of Canada for 16 years, where she won the award for the 2020 RBC Global Citizen Award. She is currently the community manager at the Royal Bank of Canada. Above all, she is a wife and a mother. Join me and make welcome Mrs. Adejisola Atiba, also known as Lady Abba, as she takes over our screens and takes us on a journey into the world of global career opportunities. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon. It's still it's still morning in my hand. So good morning from Canada. Good afternoon to everyone. It is an honor
Good afternoon in Nigeria.
It's an honor to be here. I want to start by congratulating the convener, AA Mentor Program. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I do not take it for granted. And I do also want to say that I had the distinct opportunity to listen to some of the speakers. They've dropped a lot of nuggets. I heard some of Dean's presentation. He talked about finding your vision, your passion. He talked about the 5 love languages. I love that book. And then the keynote, Nia Adesanya talked about the fact that communication is not everything. It's not complete without comprehension. Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. And Are, oh my goodness, that was something else, what I would say about Are is that he said, give it my all. And that's the thing, whatever we do, it's super, super important for us to give it our all. So I will share my screen so that I can go into my presentation. Can we all see my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
So, thank you so much. So I have the opportunity of talking about global career opportunities. And this is my perspective. Remember, there's so many ways that we can get to the market. There's so many ways we can get to wherever we're going. And so, this is my way. And it may be your way, but, we'll continue to learn together. This is a little bit about me. And I believe the person that the MC actually introduced me a little, but I started my banking career in Nigeria, and I had about 15 years before coming to Canada. So overall, I've had over 30 years of banking experience. If I had started in Canada, I probably would have retired by now and be enjoying life at a young age. But I always tell people that banking is my profession, but community is my passion. And one of the things I want to start with before I go into the global career opportunities is purpose. It is important for every one of us to have a purpose. And I want to pause a little and ask this question: what is your purpose? What is your purpose? I'm sure most of us will have purpose, but if you don't, think about it. Why? What's the purpose? Whether it's for your career, whether it's for your family, what really is your impact in life? What are you trying to achieve? So for me, there are 3 areas that keeps me grounded, which are my priorities. One of it is God first. I can do nothing of my own accord. God first. With everything that I do, I prayerfully go into it. Does that mean I'm not a sinner? Absolutely not. But I put God first, and my family means the world to me. I'm a mother of 2, but mother of many. My career, of course, because without my career, I can't look beautiful. And of course, my community. When we continue to build each other up, all this that, AA Mentor Program, bringing all these amazing leaders together is all about how can we build each other up? How can we add value to each other? What can we do differently to get to our next level, right? And that is what it's all about. And so I always say that my purpose and vision in life, is to prayerfully, I encourage everybody to, if you don't have it, prayerfully identify your purpose and vision. Mine is to support, to inspire, to motivate, and encourage everyone around me. Because as I do this, I become a better person. That's basically what life is all about. When you mentor someone, you're sharpening your skills. Yes, you're giving, but out of giving, you're perfecting who you are. So I will encourage everyone to try, and identify what that purpose is, what makes you think. Now, global career To me, what does it mean? And why do people even do it? Why is it important to do it? What does global career mean? Let's start from the very beginning. I love to sing at times. So, I mean, it refers to chances of employment and professional growth that is available in various countries. Everybody always wants to, move to greater heights in their careers. And it could happen in your country of birth, or maybe you need to move to another country to get it. And these opportunities allows individuals to work internationally and gain diverse experiences and cultural experiences. You cannot imagine that the level of cultural fusion that we have in Canada. If I look in front of me, it's somebody else from somewhere else in the world. I work for an organization that has over 100,000 employees, and we meet with diverse people, and these are some of the opportunities of working in a global space, and a lot of people gain from that. It helps us to develop global valuable skills, advance our careers, and often it involves relocation. And because when you relocate, you will get most of the time higher salaries, and of course opportunities to network with diverse set of people and learn diverse cultures too. Why is global career opportunities important? It's important because it allows us to access diverse talents. Everybody used to go to work. I don't know about Nigeria now, but everybody used to go to work 5 days a week, right? At times when you are in a global company, maybe you're working with an international company, maybe you don't necessarily need to relocate right now because technology has helped us. That's part of the positiveness that came out of COVID-19, being able to connect with people on a wider scale. And, it has now become a culture. It's not something new anymore. We do it, even without thinking. I mean, imagine us talking to everybody around the world. I always feel like a kid when it comes to technology. The fact that I can pick up the phone and talk to somebody in Nigeria still amazes me. So thank you to all the techie gurus and the geeks that is making all these things available. They're thinking ahead, they're futuristic, because that's the only reason why we're able to do what we're doing. So by leveraging global expertise, companies can better understand and serve diverse customer base. Because most companies, the bank I work, for instance, has, they have relationship all over the world. So how do they know how to deal with those diverse talents and diverse cultures? Global opportunities allows us to do that. It also helps to attract top talents. So you're not necessarily restricted to the talents that are in your environment or country. And so why is global career opportunities important? It's important because it enables individuals to expand their professional horizon beyond national borders. They gain unique experiences and skills that enhance their career prospects worldwide. So opportunities around global career, talking about international job, it allows us to understand cross-cultural work experiences, global mobility, skills development. When we're listening to one of the speakers, my husband was saying, his concept stems from the North American, system. But I feel that, because of technology and, networking like this, we're able to understand what works in certain places as opposed to others. Career advancement, economic benefits are some other opportunities of global career. And so what does data say about global career? Because if it's not working, then why are we doing it? If it's working, I guess that's why a lot of people want to do more of it. So what does the data say? And you can see all my sources at the bottom of the page. It talks about growth of international assignments, right? I'll just go through a few according to 2020, and I will make the slides. I'll make it available too. According to 2020 report by Musa, the number of companies sending employees on international assignments has increased by 40% over the past decade. There has to be something working, otherwise they won't be doing it. Expatriate population, the UN estimates that there are around 272 million international migrants in 2019. It's a significant portion of whom, people looking for professional, they're seeking for professional and career opportunities. That, there's data to back it up that this is the way to go. So, are you looking to relocate for better job opportunities? Some of us did it well, some of us did not do it well, and I will talk about not doing well, leveraging my own personal stories. Before you relocate, especially if you're not an expatriate, if your company is not sending you, if you're planning to migrate yourself, you need to make sure that you actually do some, homework, some assignments to make sure that it's something that is, will work for you. So what are some of the things that you should think about? You need to do your research. Make sure you have the necessary information. So for instance, if you're coming, let's say you have your first degree and you know that you may need to go in and do your master's degree, make sure you have at least your transcript, so that it's not something that's going to hinder you. Check the job demand. Is your job hot cake? Are they looking for somebody like you in that culture, in that country? Is your job something that you're getting, you're going to get something, or what does that look like for you? And at times you may need to be ready to pivot. I say that to say, I'm an accountant, I want an accountant job, and that's it. No, you need to be flexible in your thinking. Do I have soft skills that I can leverage? One of the things I say to people when I'm mentoring is, we talk about skills. My perspective, I kind of group skills in 3 areas. Our hard skills, our soft skills, and our transferable skills. What are the hard skills? Those education that you've done, those certificates and everything that you've done to be where you are, right? Your soft skills are the experiences you've gained from various jobs that you've done, because as we meet with people and we know that people are dynamic, people are unique, you will learn from them, whether it is communication, whether it's problem solving, whatever it is, you have those skills. Now, when you put those 2 together, you're able to take away your transferable skills. So being an accountant does not mean I must be an accountant. And I'm saying this because I've seen a lot of accountants in Canada that have had to pivot into something else, not something lower, something better. And it's all about keeping an open mind, be ready to explore, and not, if I don't get it, that's it. Because remember, it's a new culture, new environment, and things may not necessarily work the way they work from your home country. Also, your financials matter. Most of the time, when permanent residents are moving to a country like Canada, they will tell them, make sure you have at least 6 months funding ready to be able to meet emergencies, so that you don't feel stranded instead of landed, right? So make sure you have the resources, depending on your family, that will cater for you in case you're not able to get the job over your choice. And being pivoting also, I just want to go back there a little, is around at times not necessarily being focused on I must get something, but being focused on getting your foot in the door of your profession and showing who you are, right? Letting them know the value you bring to the table. But if you're not in, you can't do that. You can't do it from outside, right? Summary, when you're relocating for better job, you just need to thoroughly prepare, research, and understand the job market, and remain flexible. Remain flexible. So what does success look like? Now that you have the job, what next? So you're relocated, you've gotten the job. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? How can you maintain? How can you sustain that job? How can you get to the next level? So I want to pause a little bit. You've gotten that job. What next? Right? What next? So I will share a few things. These are some of the things that, when you've gotten something, you got to maintain it. That is what's next. How do you maintain it? I'm going to throw some words at you, and before I go into my own personal story. So how do you maintain, how do you sustain? How do you showcase who you are? How do you elevate from, getting your foot in the door to becoming, whoever you want to be? How do you have that CEO mindset? How do you have that CEO mindset? How do you have that CFO mindset? So some of us, may be familiar with some of these words, but I'm going to share them. So having a growth mindset is really, really critical in everything that we do. Having a growth mindset basically talks about the ability, and intelligence, which can be developed through dedication and hard work. You embrace learning, resilience, and persistence. And I just want to stop a little bit on learning. My CEO, and this is a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. The company I work for is known globally. And based on asset under management, maybe number 7 or 8 globally. Yet the CEO says you have to have a culture of continuous learning. Have a culture of continuous learning. And now, learning means different things to different people. It doesn't necessarily mean go and get more certificate. It doesn't necessarily mean, go back to university or something like that. What is it that you need to do from this point? The point you are to get you to the next point. What does learning mean? So if you're CEO of a company that big, earning millions of dollars already says, have a culture of continuous learning, what should we have? And I'll go to radical candor. It's a communication approach that combines caring personally with challenging directly. I don't know the system now in Nigeria because I've been away for quite some time. But I remember that our leaders, when they say something, when they say, for instance, jump, the question is how high? But in this part of the world, it's why do I need to jump? What's the purpose of jumping? Tell me more. Explain to me the value this is going to add for me. People want to ask more questions. It's never your way or the highway, right? And it's important to understand these cultures, to be able to sustain, to be able to elevate from where you are, to be able to get from point A to point Z. You need to be agile, flexible, adaptable. You need to be flexible. I already talked about that. Changing, things are always changing. Look around you. Technology is taking, everything that we know. You have to learn, unlearn, relearn. It's never the same thing. I know, I think it was Ari that talked about, was it Kodak? And, I remember something I heard about, was it the CEO of Nokia? He said, we did everything right. But they were pushed to the side. And I'll talk about, one phone that I love so much is BlackBerry. They came in with a bang. But they refused to, be flexible. They refused to adapt. And we can give different, different examples. I remember, maybe Yahoo was supposed to buy Google, but they're like, oh no, they're nothing. There's always something. You gotta be open to change, because whether you change or not, change is gonna happen. And if you don't go with it, it's gonna leave you behind. And network. A lot of people will say that your network is your net worth, the people in your circle. I know I already mentioned, the difference between mentorship and sponsorship. When you network, you get to meet a lot of people that will mentor you, that will sponsor you, speak for you in places that you're not. There's something we call above the line thinking. It's a positive mindset. You're taking responsibility, you're showing accountability. And there's nothing wrong in showing vulnerability. We always talk about, men are supposed to be strong. Really? Are we helping them or we're killing them? There's nothing wrong for a man to be vulnerable. But I'm talking in terms of career. All these are some of the things that you need to, imbibe in you to ensure that not only have you gotten the job, but you can actually elevate and scale and move from that point A to point B. Intentional. You need to be intentional. You need to be deliberate about what you want to achieve. You need to have that clear objective. You need to, plan thoughtfully. And of course, we all know SMART goals. Having a SMART goal, is, what happened? Having a SMART goal means everything. And yes, you did your goals and you were able to achieve what you want to achieve, but you need to continue again. And just for the benefit of everybody, because I don't like to assume, SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. And before I go to the thank you page, because I'm watching the time, I'm timing myself. I know I have about a few more minutes. I want to talk just a little bit about my journey. What has my journey been like? So I've been in Canada now for over 19 years. And I wasn't prepared for the job market. I was not. And that's why it's important for you to prepare wherever you find yourself, wherever you want to go. I didn't prepare. And unfortunately, way back then, what you hear people tell you is no, you can't get a job in the bank. And I wasn't really as open-minded as I'm talking now. I guess experience matters. I guess maturity matters. And that is why it's important to come to events like this so that you can hear what people did not do well and you can, build on it. And so it was mostly no, that's what people were telling me until I went to open my account in the bank. And the man that opened the account for me asked me and said, "Oh, you worked in the bank. Why are you not working now in the bank?" I'm like, in my heart of hearts, I really didn't want to say anything to him. Like, seriously? I don't even have time. I don't even have the strength to talk. Because by then I must have sent over 100 resumes out. And he said, well, I did answer him. That voice in me said, answer him, what's it going to be? I mean, what's the worst it's going to be? Right? And I told him, I said, well, I've been looking at not being successful. He said, do you mind if I introduce you to somebody that just got a job? I said, of course, I don't mind. He introduced me to a lady. I would say that person that opened the account for me, his name is Hudson. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. And he told me way back then that his passion is music, and he left the bank to go and pursue music in his own country. I would say he was my first mentor. He guided me. You don't know where you're going to meet a mentor, but if you stay in your house and you don't attend events, you don't, you won't meet people that will be able to mentor you. He was my first mentor in Canada. He introduced me to this lady, and lo and behold, he's a Nigerian, Yoruba, for that matter. Her name is Modupe. That lady was my second mentor, is my second mentor. We're friends for life. And she guided me. And I did exactly what she did, and I got my foot in the door of my profession. You know, a lot of people will tell you that thunder will not strike twice. At times it does. You know, I got my foot in the door of my profession. It wasn't the position I wanted, but like I said, you can only make an impact when you're somewhere. You can't make impact outside of it. Because of my background, I was able to, you know, do my professional qualification exams, and it was easy to move from one point to the other, and I'm grateful. And today, in that same bank, I manage 4 branches. I support over 40 people. I've had several positions. And while I was going through my journey, I realized that a lot of people are coming in. How can we help them? And that is how we started Council of Nigerian Professionals, that is now moving to Council of African Professionals. The idea is to network within ourselves, create mentors, create sponsors, be role models for children, you know, support ourselves with building each other up, building businesses up. You know, one of the events, we have a lot of events because we believe in educating people. We know that when people have information, you can make informed decisions. One of the programs we have, we had a Mother's Day event, and one lady, we were talking about, you know, when life gives you lemon, you make lemonade. You know what this lady said? When life gives me lemon, I don't make lemonade. I make champagne. Perspective matters. Since then, I decided I will be using that. When life gives me lemons, I make champagne. So what are you making of your lemons? What is that goal that you want to achieve that seems too big? You know, I've had a lot of people say, when your goal is easy and you can achieve it yourself, then it's not big enough. So what is that goal? What's that lemon life is throwing at you? When life gives you lemon, have the perspective of turning it into what? Champagne. Champagne. And another thing I'll leave you with is, you know, a lot of people talk about half full, half empty cup. I say, my cup is refillable. How about yours? Right? My cup is refillable. So don't worry about half empty or half full. It is refillable, especially when you're a child of God. Remember, I told you my priorities? God first. So whatever you believe in, hold on to it. Let it inspire you to be the very best that you can be. And I'll say it again. You know, it's very, very important. Whatever you want to do, you got to be intentional. You got to be focused. You got to, you know, do the work. Do the hard work. Hard work is good. It gives you a sense of fulfillment. And on that note, I'll say thank you for having me. I hope I've been able to add a little bit to the conversation.
Thank you very much. That was very, very, very illuminating. Thank you for my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very insightful.
Thank you very much, man. God bless you.
Thank you, madam. Speaking to us early this morning. That was very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma.
All right. Thank you so much. This was, how will I call it now? Spoken from a mother's standpoint.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you very much. The life gives you lemon. Don't make lemonade. Make champagne out of it.
I think that's the take home for today.
That's the take home.
For this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Life throws at you, turn into champagne and have a nice time with it. Thank you so much. I think this is the depth of a mother's heart, and it's been very, very insightful. I believe everyone is fired up and motivated to go after their dreams. Thank you so much. All right, so without wasting much time, I don't know if somebody has a question. I don't know the time for questions yet, but probably maybe at the end of the conversation, she'll be able to take some questions. I don't know. I will confirm that. But let's hand over to the next moderator, who is going to introduce the next speaker so that we